will be live in
gonna
25 minutes.
go into public and whoa, I think we are doing an internet. We are doing an internet. We are.
Does that mean we're live, or is it just like starting?
We should be live. We are live indeed.
Well then, hello everybody.
Hi. We are
That's
back.
all I've got. Yeah, it's my fault we were not back last week, though. I apologize for that yet again. I did pay the price for it, and it happened because X-Ray Girl was home for 2 days between her trip to Peru and her trip to Texas, and in that time, she gave me the Peruvian plague, and I was suffering from it for like a week. And yeah, I'm starting to get better now. But if I don't manage to get to my mute button before I cough at any point during this stream, I apologize because I am still coughing.
Fair enough.
We're here to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We're here to talk about Terrifier 3 finally. Everybody,
Yay!
Which, I've been looking forward to talking about since I saw it.
Wow.
Joining us again is James Moore. How you doing, James?
I'm tired and I am sore.
There you go. You feel like I felt on Wednesday. Jeez, the myalgia was insane. Yeah. And Miss Slaughter. How you doing, Miss Slaughter?
Hello. Doing great.
Hello.
Thanks for having me back.
Hell yeah.
No, absolutely.
I'm also here because, I mean, it's my channel. It would be weird if it wouldn't be. So yeah, I'm here.
No, we can't forget you.
Exactly. And Mark is here. He came back. He survived the last week. Isn't that great?
This week I am back.
Yeah, Halloween stuff. We're doing Halloween things, obviously. Even though the Terrifier 3 is actually not on Halloween, but that's whenever we get there, I guess. I don't think there's anything.
Dude, the Discord noises piss me off so much. They're all Halloween jingles now.
The
Halloween remix.
I know, right? Threw me off.
I'm listening. I'm like, what the hell is this?
I kind of like that they put the ringtone, and the ringtone goes into a minor key in like the second bar.
It's like this feeling when you're like you're asleep and like something rings on your phone and it sounds weird in the beginning. It's like, oh, and then it's like, oh, it's another sound. That's what's happening. Yeah, I think you can turn that off somewhere in the settings. I mean, mine is muted for the most part anyway, so I never notice.
That's gonna be like a few more days.
Even the loading screen is Halloween-y. I mean, when I'm back at my PC, that I don't see that anymore. I just turn on my PC and then I'll go fetch some coffee in the morning, so I never see that happen.
The call tone kind of slaps, not gonna lie. I do like
okay. But yeah, let's see, what's going on in chat? You can turn it off. Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, go check out the settings. I guess you can turn it off there. Wonder if Wolf's gun still has more pushback than James' foreskin. If you know, you know. I mean, that was probably from the stream you guys did.
Yeah, Dead Space 3.
James finally found a victim to play Dead Space 3 with.
You'll be next.
Damn it. Nah.
Either that or I'll steal you from Mauler to play Gears 4 and 5.
That's fine. Yes, go ahead.
I didn't finish Gears 4 and I have not played Gears 5.
It took me a whole 4 years to come back and finish Gears 4, and I was right at the end. And I'm a huge fan of the original trilogy and even Judgment. And I don't know why I fell off on 4 so hard, but I came back and finished it. And honestly, I never finished 5 either. They're not bad games, but they just didn't hit the same as the original trilogy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess there's that element of these are things we've done enough by now, that you feel while you're playing them.
The prequel, though, hype for that. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a shot. I'm sure.
We couldn't get you to like the new characters, so we're gonna go back to the old characters.
But hey, it's supposed to be more horror focused, and the locusts are supposed to be a lot more overpowered and scary, even the basic ones. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I guess you gotta figure they wouldn't quite know how to fight them yet.
Exactly, because they're just baby Marcus and Dom.
Yeah.
Metal, you're the wrestling fan of EFA, but haven't heard your thoughts on the Mr. McMahon documentary. That's because I haven't seen it yet. I'm still in the Rings of Power mines. I don't get to do funny things at the moment, or fun things. I guess the documentary is not funny because he's done a lot of shit from what I know. I mean, I'm already aware of all the Vince McMahon stuff, obviously, because I've listened to a lot of podcasts over the years. But you know, I'll check it out. Maul actually told me I would probably enjoy it, which yeah, I probably will.
Yeah, he told me that too. I'm a very much wrestling normie. Like, and not like I wouldn't even say that because if a normie that's into wrestling probably knows a lot more and watches more of it than I do. I know a bit about it, and that's kind of it. So I might actually learn quite a bit from that documentary, and I did hear it was good.
I mean, I've been watching
Hey,
it
no,
since I'm a little boy child, so
Yeah. You know the lore.
I know the lore. I actually do from multiple promotions. So yeah, that's what's happening. I've played Silent Hill 2, the remake. I played all the way through that. Short thing is, it is fine, but a mixed bag. It's a bit too long. It drags on towards the end quite a bit. Atmosphere is still good. The combat is kind of annoying towards the end because everything is so tanky and you have to fight everything. So that's it's a bit annoying, really. Don't play it on hard combat. It just makes the enemies more spongy and faster and more annoying to fight. So I'll probably go for like normal on the combat and hard on the puzzles. Puzzles are pretty good. But yeah, I put out a rando rant on that. If you want to check that out, go check that out. But yeah.
And I finished Metaphor Refantasio, which is very long, though I wouldn't say it's over long because it's a JRPG, so it justifies that length with having a lot of story content about a lot of different characters. If you like the Persona games, I'd recommend checking it out because it's basically Persona 6, but it's a fantasy game instead of a modern high school sim game. And yeah, and it's got really neat new combat mechanics that mix real time with turn based in some interesting ways where you run around the world and you're fighting in real time the way you kind of do in the Persona dungeons, but you actually have a dodge and you can stagger enemies that then gives you the ability to, when you enter turn-based combat, for them to be stunned at the beginning, so you get kind of an extra turn there. They have like a turn system that I think is kind of neat where you can do things like add extra turns with a couple different skills, and yeah, it's neat. I would recommend it. And oh, sorry, Shogoth, it is primarily turn-based. Just during the dungeon running, you can swing your sword around, and depending on the strength of the enemy, you can either just fight and kill them or damage them and stun them, and then it goes into turn-based from there. Yeah, it's a good game though.
Nice.
Great story.
Odin just told me there's some fan art that he has on the Twitter. I'm gonna show that off right away because it looks cool. Need to find the right buttons here. There you go. Look at this. It's behold the abnormal creation of Dr. von Cyborg, his modern Prometheus, metal. And there you go. So
hey, look at that. I'm not a brain in a jar this time. Thanks, Odin.
I like the logo on the floor as well. And there's also one with colors. Look at that. That's awesome.
I like my suit. I'm going to get a suit like that. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great job, Odin. That's awesome.
Fantabulatastic. I wanted to mix some words together, but it didn't quite mesh, so I just tried again and did what I could. But yeah, no, awesome stuff. Thank you very much. Looks really good.
Really captured the essence of my mustache there too. Nice.
Also, I enjoy not being like a very small gremlin for once. That's a nice pace of change.
Yeah,
you don't like being a gnome?
A giant monstrosity.
I know it's the lore, but you know, it's no, it's awesome. Thank you very much.
You know what you look like? You kind of look like is it Champion Victor from Liza P?
Oh. Metal in his best Arthur Dent dressing gown. Yeah, good stuff as always. Thank you very much. This isn't even his final form. The smaller I get, the more powerful I am. But yeah, so that's all been going on. Just doing all kinds of things, playing video games. I'm gonna be. The idea is to stream some of the Call of Duty campaign tomorrow because I'm just curious what the campaigns look like these days. I wasn't even aware the campaign has been getting like praise or anything. I just saw it on my Game Pass and was like, you know what? I'm curious and I don't need to pay extra, so I wanna check it out. So I'll probably do that tomorrow, and then the day after or 2 days after that, I'm No, 2 days after, we're probably going to do more EFAB recordings. So, I don't know, probably Tuesday, I'm going to do some more Darkwood. So, yeah, I'm just going to squeezing in another game in between that's current because I'm a content whore. No, I'm just curious.
Yay!
But yeah, that's I mean, nothing else has really been going on. Just been doing recordings with EFAB, doing as much work as possible on the Rings of Power episode 5 review, but you know, work's been a bitch, so I didn't really get a lot of time to do it. I'm like 15 minutes into the visuals of like a 40-minute video or whatever, so I'm just chipping away on that. But yeah, that's your small updates. I just do this now because we weren't here last week, so just telling you guys what's been going on over the last week or two, in case you're not aware. But today we have gathered for more gory goodness. Oh, see, that's a good one. Gory goodness, that's what it is. Because we got the third iteration of the Terrifier movie. And we have seen it. I've actually seen it twice now because I rewatched it in preparation. I guess we could just do a little Blurpenheimers as we do, because that's just always a nice thing to lead us into the actual movie. So
Sounds good to me.
How
Can
about
we start left to right again?
Sure,
Let's
let's
go.
do
James
that.
Moore, Miss Slaughter, me, you.
Hell yeah.
All right, James, have at it.
Shit. All right.
I think we blindsided you last time with that as well.
Yeah, this
I think
is
it's a
racist.
consequence to joining the call last, I guess.
I joined it first last. Whatever. All right. I like the movie overall. I think the second one's better though. Personally, there's some issues that mostly crop up at the end for this third one. I'd still say it's worth watching, but hopefully he does straight up end on the fourth movie after this, and doesn't drag it out like every other horror franchise. But I guess we'll see. Yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, nice and concise. Short and concise. I can't talk,
yeah.
but you know that already.
Concise kind of implies short, but he's to the point, I suppose. Miss Slaughter, what about you?
I really like this one. I grappled with thinking 2 or 3 was my favorite. I still think 2 kind of edges it out a little bit, but 3 is awesome. Like I said on the last podcast, there was a lot of stuff that was actually answered for us, but it also left a lot of questions. So, like was previously mentioned, I hope they're all answered in the next one, because Damien Leone said that he wants to close it on the next one, even though we've heard that it might go to Terrifier 5. So I'm thinking that this next movie could be long enough to tie everything together and kind of like bring closure to Art the Clown and like what he is and where he came from and why he's so strong and all that. And I'm really excited to see basically the direction that they take the fourth one in from how the third one ended, like with the whole hell portal and all that and stuff, and like you don't know who's alive and who's not at the very end. So I know he's gonna up the ante even more and make it freaking crazy and have Sienna go through possibly some kind of like hell dimension and stuff. Then you know, that'll make it a bit more supernatural and fantasy, as opposed to him wanting to keep it a little bit more grounded with Terrifier 3. But hey, I'm here for it because the Terrifier films are balls to the wall, so I don't care if they go even more balls to the wall, basically. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I want to see it again. I wanted to see it again like the week that I saw it. So the kills are wonderful. The acting and the performances are great. I don't know how Sienna just got better, but she did. Like, she's definitely cemented her status as a amazing final girl, maybe in the top 5 of all time. So I'm really excited to see her next performance because she just keeps elevating it. Same with David Howard Thornton. Art is just amazing and iconic slasher, and I want to see more of him. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Good.
All right, and my sentiment pretty much echoes Miss Slaughter's in a lot of ways. I don't know if I would say 3 or 2 are clearly better than each other. I think you could maybe make the argument that 2 is a little better, but at the same time, I'm sort of I kind of think they're about on par. Like I don't really think they're there's a massive quality gap between them or anything. And I think that what's interesting is a lot of the stuff which happens with the backstory and the lore, particularly involving Sienna's father in 3, I think makes 2 better. Like, and I don't know, like Metal can go into this on whether or not it solves some of his issues with whether or not the I don't know, mythical stuff makes sense. But like I got a lot of interesting theories in my head about where 4 might be going, which I'll try to get to when we get to it in sequence. But I messaged my theory to Miss Slaughter like immediately after our first episode because I wanted to make sure it was out there so that if it became the kind of thing that in every video essay that ever comes out about Terrifier 3, this is what people are thinking. I thought it right away. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good theory. I liked it. I honestly agreed with it too.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with the next one because I think that as we'll also get to it, it sets up a pretty clear motivation for what Sienna needs to do and the things she's going to need to do to accomplish it at the end of 3. Which,
Exactly.
I think set up for quite well. That's pretty much it, though. Metal, what do you think?
Well, as with the other ones, I had a lot of fun watching that movie. I don't think there has been a movie like this where it got like not just squeamish, but went like, ugh, like the Terrifier movies. The way they use this the effects and the practical stuff. It's really nasty, and I like it. I'm a sick freak myself, apparently. So there you go. There's a couple of issues I have with this, which are not like super duper great. It's more weird things where it's like, why did we do this and why did he do that at this time, and how did he find them at this thing? I don't know. We'll get there when we get there, but it's not super duper bad or anything. There's actually a lot of character things in here that I appreciate quite a bit, where they don't forget about things that happened in the second one, like, you know, mentioning the dead friends and mentioning the dead mother and how they miss them. It's like, oh shit, you remember your family. That's nice, because that's stuff that other movies just forget. Like, oh yeah, this is the 5th Saw movie or whatever, and all my friends died, but we never even talk about them. But you even get some nice little character stuff, and I enjoy this. But yeah, good kills, fun stuff. Art is hysterical as always. It's this movie is like is funny in a way because you have this really disgusting kill going on, then they cut over to Art and he's just doing some silly things, and it's like, motherfucker, stop making me laugh. Someone is dying horribly right now.
I know, right? I was laughing during so many inappropriate scenes that were just brutal, and I was like, I should not be laughing right now, but he's so funny.
But yeah, I still quite enjoyed it. If you're into slasher movies, I think these ones you need to watch those. I think they're really, really fun. I mean, I don't really know a lot about slashers, so I'm a bit of a noob. But I enjoy this, and they're not completely broken in every way, from what I understand so far. So I like it. Yeah, good fleams. Thumbs up so far.
Yay. Are we ready to talk about the intro?
Let's do it.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, we basically start with it was like, we need someone that needs to die right now. So it's Christmas. First of all, it's not Halloween. It's Christmas. And when I saw, I was like, wait a second, Crimbus? This is Halloween. What are you doing on Crimbus? But we'll get to know this shortly. But yeah, it's a random family, right? Like I'm not crazy. Like this is like a random family.
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
If they have any connection to other characters, at least that I was aware of.
Yeah. So they're just like, oh, it's Crimbus. Santa's down there. I like Santa. I'm a little child. Santa is great. Can you put some cookies and milk on the counter for him? It's like, yeah, sure. And you have the dad who needs to get up in like 3 hours, and he's like annoyed there's such a ruckus. Like, oh, I heard noises. This is just basic stuff. But obviously the noises is, well, it's art. Of course it is art.
Yeah.
And
everyone in the audience is like, oh no.
And he's wearing the Santa costume, which is just, It's just funny. It's just funny to see. And he grabs a big old axe out of his Crimbus sack, and he goes to the brother's room. We don't see what happened quite immediately. We just see the little girl's perspective. She just sees he went in there and comes out and closes the door. And he then proceeds. Art then proceeds to go to the parents' room and just takes the axe and starts hacking away on the husband. And you see everything in a way that even if I had the footage to show you, I couldn't. I'm pretty sure YouTube would not like that.
Might have a problem with it.
So yeah, immediately it's like, yeah, we got some more money and we used it, and we didn't use it for VFX. We made some really fucking good prosthetics and practical effects, because you see the dad's head get caved in, the chest caved in, everything, like there's chopping happening everywhere. It's quite gnarly and it's amazing. It's really gross. I love it. There's blood everywhere. It's yeah.
Also a Shining reference.
Oh yeah, Shining reference. But
Yeah.
with just imagine the door thing, but you just see Art's face like smiling through. It's like,
I love that. Like there was an element of that almost seems like he was consciously referencing The Shining and
Yeah.
having fun with it.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, this is his "Here's Johnny" moment.
yeah. It's yeah. She runs around and she goes to check on the daughter, but she's gone. Just says like, "Oh, run away!" And then she checks on the brother, and we cut to his chopped up corpse. There's guts everywhere. The head is gone. The arms are gone. Yeah, children are not safe in this movie.
Nope.
And I think there was some people online who were annoyed by this, or because they're little pussies or whatever. I don't know.
Lots of people said that this movie like shouldn't exist, or like shouldn't have been released because there's like violence against children. And I was like,
Oh my
guys,
god, stop being
I was like-
babies.
Yeah.
No.
Are you
It's,
aware of Freddy Krueger? Like, do you know
No,
what
no,
his
it's
story
real.
is?
no, it's funnier. They said real horror never goes after kids, and then they cited like a who was it? I think they cited like Jason or someone, and it's like Jason literally destroys like older teenagers. This is his whole thing.
Yeah.
Most killers
I mean, even,
target teens.
Michael Myers
his-
kills kids too. Like, it's not new, and like it's a horror movie. It's fiction, so like
Yeah.
obviously killing kids is gonna up the ante on horror. That's what it's about. So like I don't understand why people have such a moral dilemma with it.
Well,
Yeah,
remember
he's
one of the
also-
one of the
he's
more
a
recent
literal demon.
popular, yeah, right. One of the more recent popular horror movies is A Quiet Place. The first
Yep.
kill we see in that
That's a
movie
good point.
is a child.
It's like the most
Oh, maybe I should
mainstream
watch
as
that
fuck horror movie
movie.
too.
And like you
But,
said, Freddy Krueger is a child murderer. So like, and he's like one of the most iconic slashers ever. And people don't really bring that up ever and have a problem with it because they love Freddy. Oh, he's so awesome. He's funny and evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a strange take. Although I guess I can at the same time understand why, if you're not up for a horror movie getting quite that dark, this opening scene might have been the reason why people
it's
were
funny
walking
because
out of the movie.
Rex probably wouldn't watch this. He doesn't do well with like gory stuff. I think he would have a bad time with this, but we might force him to watch it at some point. I think so.
Hey, they
Oh.
could have shown the child getting hacked up, but they didn't. I feel like it
Yeah.
was visceral, but less visceral, just showing the body after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
I think it's technically against the law to show a child being killed on screen.
Oh, really? I thought that
Yeah.
was a
Interesting.
taste move, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I think
by-
it was the correct one regardless. Like,
Yeah, by technicality, I believe it's against the law, but movies have been pushing further and further with that. So, like, you're technically allowed to show a dead kid after it happens, but not really before or after.
well,
It-
mean,
Interesting.
And it usually
they went as
depends on
far
the
as they
level of
could with
violence.
that, with the boy's room shot. Like that's
Yeah,
they certainly showed you what happened to him.
so that's why a lot of one of the loopholes is always it's a young child, and most of the time they're like older teenagers. They're like 16, 17. So that's why it's okay for them to be killed on screen, but not like a little 5-year-old. That's why in A Quiet Place you don't even really see it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
mean,
know
I'm
that.
kind of. I feel like I remember the alien thing going by, and then you see the kid get taken by it at least. But
No,
I
it's
don't know.
like
Maybe
a you
I haven't
see
watched A
you
Quiet
see
Place in a while.
you see a small blood spray and that's it.
Yeah,
It's
well,
really
I mean, I
funny.
guess you see less of what Art does to either of the children in this scene, like, or while it's happening. You do see the aftermath of one of them.
Well, you see
Right.
the aftermath both times. It's really funny.
Of the girl? No, you don't, because the
No,
scene.
later
Oh, okay.
in the mall.
Oh, yeah. We'll get there.
I fucking
That
love that
was
scene.
that was the he draws the Glock and starts firing moment of this one.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
oh boy.
Even on the rewatch, I was laughing my ass off. I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is so funny."
That is probably the funniest scene in this movie.
Yeah,
It's
That's
funny
the
that you say that it's the he draws a Glock scene because he literally draws another gun in
he does.
Terrifier
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, I guess now that we know he uses guns, we didn't realize that he makes IEDs. I guess mine are
That's
smaller.
fair. Improvised explosives. Oh my gosh. Art the Clown nail bombs.
but yeah, dead child, very gory. And then he goes after the mom and he hacks her face off and her limbs and stuff. And then he does the art stuff. He just sits down, puts his feet up, gets the cookies that were laid out for Santa, dips them in the milk, even cleans the plate and puts it on the dry rack. Isn't that nice? What a good lad.
He does a little shimmy because he's so excited about eating his cookies and
Yeah.
just all the murder he committed.
Yeah, he eats the cookie. It's like, very good. it's
He's
quite fun.
A great character for eliciting the emotion of "I hate you, but you're so damn entertaining."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you might wonder, hey, but what about the daughter? She wasn't there. It's like, yeah, she was hiding, but she made a noise right before I was about to leave. Uh-oh. And then he looks down in the cabinet where she was hiding, and he does this little wave with his fingers. And then we cut away, and that child is dead, 100%.
Yep. No chance he's gonna be like, "Well, you hid for long enough. I'll just let you go. You're a little girl after all." That
No
is,
way.
Not,
Art has no mercy.
Yeah.
not
well
the kind of character we're dealing with.
well the only time he's ever shown mercy, to my knowledge, is in All Hallows Eve, where he kills the 2 children in that movie, leaves them for the babysitter to find, and then leaves.
Oh, that's fair. I do remember that scene.
Okay.
That's like the only time I can think of it.
Homemade or store-bought cookies? I don't know. That's I don't know the lore on the cookies in that movie. Might be. You can expect a video essay on lore of the cookies of Terrifier 3 in 2025.
They looked a little hard, like a little crunchy, so I want to say store-bought because I feel like homemade would be a little softer, but who knows?
Oh, there
Maybe
you
they
go.
were just stale. I mean, a movie prop might be sitting
Yeah,
around for quite some
right.
time before it's used.
It's like food marketing, how they just make it like all fake for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
Terrifier
the
3
milk
brought
is
to you
there.
by Chips Ahoy.
The milk is there to soften up the hard cookie because it's going to be sitting out all night in the cold.
Hmm.
That milk though, ugh. Sitting out all night. It's probably warm.
Mm.
Well, if it's cold because it's winter, it'll probably be fine.
That's fair,
Maybe.
depending on how cold the house is, yeah.
Guess I
Seen the
never really
economy?
asked
They
my
don't have
parents-
money to heat their house.
That's
I
fair.
That's
asked
a
my
big
parents
house.
if they would- I should ask my parents if they actually drank the milk that I put out for Santa, or if they just threw it out.
Mommy, I'm cold. Well, put on a sweater. I already do. Well, take another one. But yeah, that's our initial killing scene, and it's deadly. That's what it is. But we need to know, how's he back? Because if you remember, he was decapitated, and that's not easy to get back from. So we go to the Terrifier house thing. It's a haunted house, it is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Terrifier haunted. The haunted house, which is called the Terrifier.
Exactly,
Which might get confusing because the franchise is also called Terrifier, but...
Yeah. Chaz, if they were homemade, he may have regretted killing them. It's like, damn, those were good cookies. Ah, damn it.
I should have left the
Dude.
mom alive.
If Art ate my homemade cookies, he would definitely spare me. No
Oh.
mercy, Art, for sure.
Nice. But yeah, we follow a police officer inside the thing. He's weapon out and everything, and he finds Art's body without the head. It's like, oh, I need some backup here. That's weird. What's going on here? And then the body gets up and starts strangling the officer and takes his head.
Yeah. Which results in a sequence of physical comedy scenes, which I honestly wasn't expecting, but I found quite funny.
Yeah.
This
So-
scene brings up the first question of like, because you see the pale little girl in the second movie take Art's head away.
Mhm.
Like, does the demon from the pale little girl's body transfer to Vicky? Because she was already evil beforehand, like in the end of the first movie and then the second movie, but we don't see her anymore in the third movie. So I'm like, where did she go? She was the one that delivered the head to Vicky. So, like, I don't know if it's like the demon switching hosts or whatever, like they kind of explain later on, but that part was a little confusing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess whether or not the like the clown child is corporeal or not was one of the things that we were having some issues with in the second one also. And this this movie does give you some answers, but it doesn't answer that.
Right.
Right. And yeah, then we got the a bit of the comedy because he somehow took his head off. I'm actually not entirely sure how he pulled that off, but you know, he's Art, he's a big strong boy, so he goes into the subway and there's like it was like a homeless lady or whatever, and he just holds the head of the guy on top where his head would be, so it looks like he still has a head.
It's like duct taped, isn't it?
It might be. I'm not sure.
There's a ring of duct tape around the neck.
I wouldn't be surprised. That's would be on character for sure. And then we go back to the mental asylum hospital because we got another Chris Jericho appearance. Woohoo! And yeah, if you remember from the last time we went off here, things weren't going really well, and he hears some screaming, and he checks out the place the other nurse went into, and you just see, well, Art's head eating the nurse, and Vicky eating the umbilical cord, just separating it or whatever. It's all gross and
placenta, I guess?
gory.
Yeah, like umbilical cord.
Another nice little gory prop on the floor, pretty nice. And I guess the idea here is that there's like a connection between like some magic connection shenanigans happening where the body knows where the head is, so, because he just made his way here to this mental asylum, and they kill Chris Jericho, and then he reattaches the head. So there you go. Here's your reanimation scene that happens, I guess. I mean, that's basically it. That they do that, and then we go back into the subway or a bus or whatever, and there's someone that's dressed as Art the clown, and he sees him. He's like, "Yo, you look awesome! Can I take a picture?" And they go like, "Hello," and they just don't say anything. They just do their, do their thing, But then we cut back to them getting back to the house, and they have the clown horn, so I think the guy's not very well anymore. I think they took care of him, if you will.
Well, he needed a new costume.
It's true, yeah. I needed a nice little new costume. That's true. Oh, did he take the costume? I thought he just cleaned it up, but I guess that makes more sense if he just took that one and just got rid of the bloody one. Fair enough. But yeah, we see Vicky is just going crazy with the clown horn. It goes like the whole time, and we actually get an answer to the question: what does Art do when he's not going around killing stuff and it's not Halloween? apparently he just sits in a rocking chair, looks outside, and goes into some kind of deep sleep stasis coma-like thingy, and just sits there, idle, waiting
Yeah, he
for
looks
action.
petrified.
Yeah. I guess normally he's on his own, but this time he has Vicky here, and the way she goes idle, she cuts open her wrists down the road, if you will, not across the street, and there's blood everywhere in the bathtub that's already gross and full of goopy stuff. And she just kind of sits there and grows moldy things over the walls or whatever, and that's what they do. They just sit there waiting for
yeah.
something. I'm actually not entirely sure what they would be waiting for. Maybe it's 5 years, so they just sit there idle in this abandoned house. I couldn't tell you what his proper activation would be to come back to action, I guess. But in this one, he gets woken. He gets woken up by some guys who check out the abandoned building, basically. I don't know why he got up the other times. That's basically what I'm trying to say. I don't know if he got disturbed as well, or if there was just the time where it's like, oh, time for some partying or whatever. But yeah, that's
Yeah, that's not made entirely clear. We know that this time it's a person basically finds him and he's like, oh, okay, there's a person in front of me. Time to go killing again. Oh, boy.
Mhm.
But, yeah, they don't really mention how and why he chooses Halloween again in Terrifier 2.
Yeah. It's a hobby, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess the thing, though, is this being Christmas, I was assuming that him being woken up is why, like, yeah, now this is a Christmas rampage because he's been asleep for 5 years, and they just happened to wake him up around Christmas, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, now we got those answers. So there you go. He just goes into a petrification state or whatever you'd like to call it. And now we go meet back up with Sienna. That's what we do next. And she's actually been doing. Would rehab be the right word? Therapy? Therapy probably better, right?
Therapy,
Yeah.
I'd say.
She
has pretty intense PTSD from
yes.
Terrifier 2.
And I'm a big fan that that's a thing. She's not just
Yeah.
shrugging it off, just going back to school or whatever. It's like, no, she went to apparently intensive therapy because, she saw all her friends getting brutally murdered. Her mom died, and it was not a good time. And he gets picked up by her uncle, right? Or she lives with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's her mother's sister. And,
Yeah.
And he's her husband, I believe, is the connection.
Yeah, the trauma
cool.
element is really real, and that's what I like about Terrifier 3 and Sienna's character development. Because, like you said, it's not just I just bounce back after all these traumatic events. Like, she actually is grappling with it throughout the entire movie. And then when the climax rolls around, it's like, you could argue, way more intense than the last bits of Terrifier 2 when she's just going up against Art. So it's just kind of like confounding that trauma, and like, yet she still stays strong through it. So it's like really nice message there. And also like with the PTSD and flashbacks that she has. To be honest, the only kill that she witnessed personally is Brooks. Like, at least finding Brooks' dead body. So like the fact that she sees Brooke is the only one in her visions, like, that makes sense. Like, I know she has trauma because her mom died and everything, but Jonathan is the only one that saw their mom in that state,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if like Sienna actually went back home and before her body was removed, but Jonathan would definitely have the mom's trauma, and Sienna would have Brooke's trauma. So it's kind of cool how they just like, they didn't like make all of her dead friends just show up, because like she didn't see them actually die. Like, they died away from her, so except for Brooke, like that's the only one that she saw. So it was cool that they made it a little bit more realistic like that.
Yeah, and they give her the kind of American Werewolf thing of just the dead bodies are like there talking to you and bothering you.
Yeah.
It's actually hard to concentrate on the real world because your dead friend is like, hey, what the hell? Like, look at me, I'm over here. And it's like, oh, man. That's
Oh, that's
Your
fair.
demons
There
haunted you
was
like that.
in chat, there was like a flash or whatever that she saw, but I feel like even then, just a quick flash versus Jonathan seeing his mom sitting at the table, that was definitely like more visceral
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
than just seeing a quick flash of what happened to her, but that is fair. I forgot about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but one way or another, wasn't a good time for her, and she went through
Yeah,
therapy,
exactly.
and she now gets to hang out. I guess just over Christmas, she's gonna hang out at this place, and then I don't know if she would be going back or if she was done. Doesn't really matter for the movie. I was just wondering that while I was talking about it.
She's been
If
in and out.
she's
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, and if you're a long-term inpatient at a facility like that where you're there voluntarily, like you didn't commit a crime and that's why you're there, generally if your handlers, like if your therapists that are taking care of you think that you would be safe to let go for a while and not be a danger to yourself
Yeah.
or others, then saying like, yeah, I'd like to try to get out in the world and go spend Christmas with my family and then I'll come right back. That would be reasonable, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, she gets very happily greeted by her niece. Is it? Yeah, right. Yeah. I was trying to
Yes.
remember if that's the right family tree
I
I'm
mean, I
going
guess,
down.
yeah,
so.
it's kind of like, oh, I mean, I guess technically it would be cousin.
Cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cousins.
it's
Yeah.
his cousin.
Okay. I can never. I
It's
can.
her mom's niece. First
Okay.
cousin.
Yeah. That sounds right. Cousin is the. Yes. And she's like, "Yo, glad you're here. Miss you so much." Blah, blah, blah. I don't think they have been mentioned in the last movies, right? Which is not a problem. I'm just trying to figure out if they were like specifically mentioned at some point.
I don't believe they were.
Yeah.
Although I guess like it's only at the end of Terrifier 2, or like more in particular with we know her father's dead, and now with her mom being dead, the idea of like what is her family now is something that I think that this would be the appropriate time to explore that. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
They didn't necessarily to be like, oh man, one of these days I'm gonna have to go live with my aunt and my cousin.
Yeah, it's like another thing where like where in other horror slasher whatever movies, when they went through whatever they went through, and then they just all of a sudden live all by themselves in like some shithole or whatever, and he's like, no, that's like family, and they take care of them. It's like, oh, that's nice to see for once. I'm trying to remember the movie I'm thinking about, where they
Kill Bill Volume 2.
what?
I don't know. I looked
No,
around
no.
the room and that was the poster I saw.
Oh, what was the fucking movie's name? It was the one with the monster that only appears when it's dark, and the guy just has the lights on all the time.
Lights Out?
Is it just called Lights Out? I'm pretty sure.
Lights Out is a movie in which that happens, but
No, hold on. There's like 3 different movies. Are you talking about Darkness Falls? The one that Mahler likes?
I think that is the one.
Or
I don't believe I've seen that. Alan Wake 1.
No, I think it was Darkness Falls, but yeah, where he just lives all by himself because everyone else was killed or something, and I don't know. I need to double check. I don't even know if that's completely true, but you know what I mean, right? So there's family that takes care of the other family, which is just nice and would happen more often than not. I'd like to believe.
Yeah, family's important, everybody. Take care of your family.
And yeah, and they were like, hey, just let her arrive or something. It's like, there's this family banter, basically. And it's like, here, let me show you your room. And it's like, I'll put all these things you like here. You like dragons and fantasy stuff. Because, you know, she's like a cosplayer or a crafts person that does cosplays.
an artist.
Artiste, exactly. And she even gets like a nice little card, it's like, to the moon and stuff. And no, not crypto, just
She was investing in GameStop.
was investing in GameStop. And it's like, oh, I'm glad to be here. And it's like, it's all nice. It's so nice. I hope nothing goes wrong. Right? Yeah, now we have established what's going on over there. He's just hanging out there. But we got to see how Art gets awakened. Well, Art and Vicky, really. And it's like these two guys who, I guess, just check out abandoned properties. And yeah, they just have a little banter where the guy's like, "Oh, this is a cursed place where 15 people died." Blah 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 blah. And I think it's actually kind of fun how they put this here, because I was like, I was believing him. I was like, oh yeah, I mean, Art lives here. He probably killed people here. Like, I totally get it. Like, I totally on board. It was like, no, I'm just fucking around. Like, this is just a normal house. Like, oh shit, you fucking got me actually. I thought it was kind of fun. But
I mean, is this the same house that he has his little workbench at?
I think
like,
so.
The first
Yeah,
movie opens on.
I think so.
I don't know. Like, I guess I don't know. I might have to watch the movie again to
I mean,
see exactly what the line was. I understood it that like he was telling him the truth, but it just like he was trying to freak him out more than he really needed to.
Okay. I mean, maybe it's
But,
another house. I'm not 100% sure. I just assumed it is. But yeah, I don't know.
Miss Slaughter, do you have any insight on that?
What, on the demolition
Oh,
scene?
the house that
Yeah, the
they're
house.
in. Is it
Is the
like
same
is
one?
it actually? Yeah, is it the same house as he's in at the beginning of the first movie when he's like making his cat o' nine tails and stuff?
That
Where his
house
workshop
looked
is?
like it was part of a block of a couple other houses, not just standalone like that one.
Okay.
Oh, that's true.
So, like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was a different one, like that maybe Art and Vicky just took up refuge in like a headquarters or whatever, so they could lay dormant for a while.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, so it's a different house. Yeah, okay.
And yes, actually, I confirmed at least even in Canada, Terrifier 1 and 2 are on Amazon, though I believe here it's you have to rent or buy it. I don't think it's streaming with Prime Video. Nah, $4.99 to rent though, $14.99 to buy. Would recommend.
Here in America, you can watch Terrifier 1 and 2 on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, we have different rules for streaming here.
I can watch it on Amazon too, as well.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I wasn't aware of that, so I answered Zodlander's question incorrectly because, yeah, I wasn't able to find it on streaming when I was originally trying to watch these movies about like 9 months ago or so. I don't know. Hey, actually, it might have been earlier than that. I think I saw Terrifier 1 and 2 a while back.
Well,
Doesn't matter though. We can continue.
In any case, they're just checking out the house, and then he finds the. Oh wait, I think we cut a little bit back and forth between them checking out the house and whatever they do back at home with Sienna. I mean, basically, the house is wrapped up pretty quickly. They check it out. They find Art. The other one finds Vicky. They both get killed. One guy gets skinned. Basically, he just kind of takes something sharp and just skins him and just sheds the skin off. While
Yeah.
Like
Vicky,
a box cutter, isn't it?
yeah, something like that, just something nasty.
I was gonna say scalp, but it's kind of not the right word. He kind of
Yeah.
just he splits it, he cuts it down the middle, and then just peels it out.
Yeah, like a banana.
Yeah.
A fleshy banana.
A banana flaying.
While he's doing this, Vicky is doing something with a shard of glass she had, basically masturbating with it, which is like, okay, didn't have that on my bingo card,
Yeah,
but there you
a
go.
lot of people didn't say a damn thing about that scene on Twitter when the movie first came out, and I was like, why is no one talking about this? This is just like, oh my god, I don't even know. It's random and horrifying and just like,
Yeah.
but honestly, like I liked its addition because in the first Terrifier, there was a lot of weird like sexual moments with Art the Clown, like him putting the breasts on and like dancing around.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a lot of really weird, unsettling moments in the first one, and then not so much in the second one with Art. So the fact that they brought that back, which also just made Terrifier 1 more scary and like unsettling, I respected it. It was random, but I liked it.
Yeah, he does a level 11 Buffalo Bill in the first.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's basically what's happening there, and now he's back awake. He's just going around roaming the streets, I guess. Back at home.
Looking for a new outfit, apparently.
I guess so, yeah. Back at home, Sienna's just unpacking while oh shit, what's the little girl's name again?
Gabby?
Gabby, thank you. she finds Sienna's journal and just fucking starts reading it like a little nosy child would. It's like, oh, let me just read this diary right here in the same room. It was like, I think she reads about like the clown cafe, right? It's like, oh, then I wake up in the clown cafe and she's like, give that back, it's not for you, that's my diary. Need you to promise me to not read that at all, right? It's like, okay, I'll promise. She's totally gonna read it.
Yeah, no, it's like there's never been a child in any movie ever that has promised to not read a diary that has stayed true to it.
No. Then we got a little flashback, the first of two, where we see that Sienna was talking to the dad. It's like, you wanted to draw me a thing. It's like, oh yeah, but I had to finish the drawing for this comic or whatever, and I'll do one real special for you next as soon as I get time. It's like, okay. So, putting up a couple of seeds down there. Yes?
And at this point, the dad doesn't understand the importance of what he's about to draw. He has no foreknowledge of things to come.
No, it's something weird happens in the next dream sequence.
Yeah.
For sure. And that, I think that wraps up both of those scenes, I think. I was trying to think if there was anything specific, but that's basically what it is. Just do a little setup
I guess
stuff.
we do specifically learn that her dad was a comic book artist,
right?
And like I think him drawing a superhero for her, like the Valkyrie or like Angel Warrior thing, whatever Sienna's like warrior form is, makes some sense there. And it's like, okay, and then like having a clown be one of the characters that he draws, an evil clown, like, you know, evil clowns in comic books I hear are a thing.
Oh yeah, Spawn.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Killer Clown, Spawn.
Also, I forget what his name is, but he's pretty bad.
That one who jokes also.
Yes. But yeah, Art is is cruising around. Someone in chat just said it. Art's cruising for new drip.
Good one, Lord of the Pizza Pie.
We meet up with the fam. They're just having some food, some lunch, and Gary's like, "Wow, your scars are so cool." Obviously, oblivious to how damaged Sienna's mind might be because, well, she's a child, so I don't really blame her that much. But even the parents are like, okay, don't stop staring, it's rude. Like, there's a lot of these tiny things in here, small things, that other movies in general just forget about. When you have like the nosy child who doesn't really understand what's going on, you actually have the parents like step in here. It's like, hey, come on, she's been going through stuff. Like, don't just keep asking questions. It's rude. But you know what? That's just nice. Just a normal thing to do as a parent, I would assume. So.
And it's very understandable that the kid wouldn't understand why that's inappropriate.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like her making the decision to be like, hey, like what about your scars is not like, it's not that crazy to think a little girl might say that to her.
Yeah, for sure. I just like that the parents are stepping in, just trying to change the topics around, you know, because they know what's going on properly, like they understand. And I feel like in other movies, the parents would just look at each other like, oh, that was awkward, right?
I think there's an element too of like they're sort of afraid that they're gonna trigger Sienna into being a problem for them too.
Right.
I think like also one thing that I guess they don't go into too much, but because Art's body was never found, there's a good chunk of people who think that Sienna was the killer and that she made up her story to like get out of being held accountable for all the murders that she committed.
Yeah.
What I don't get about that is that like she has an alibi for like Allie's murder and like all the other ones that happened like, you know, away from her. So like the fact that they would be pinning everything on her is a little weird. Well, the only ones that they could like pin on her is possibly is the Terrifier ones.
For Allie though, that would also I guess depend on when Allie and presumably her mother's bodies are found. Because, I mean, like, theoretically, if she was supposed to meet up with Allie later that day and then met up with Dawn and was like, yeah, Allie's not coming. Like, that would be an excuse that, like, technically would make us like, yeah, you weren't technically not there. And the only person who would be able to corroborate her alibi would be the mom, who's dead, and Jonathan, who was he there when Santa leaves? I'm not even sure.
The people at the party, if they even gave a shit to give a statement.
Yeah,
That's
although
about
but, I mean,
it.
Well,
like
actually,
theoretically
just
though,
picture
Allie
her.
could be dead before she gets to the party. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh well. But then we get the first big old PTSD scene with Sienna. Like a proper breakdown, I guess. And she's just, like, outwards, she's handling it kind of well, but she's obviously fucking going nuts inside. Because she just sees, Brooke was her name, right? The friend that died.
Yeah.
She's just sitting there next to Gabby, completely bloodied up. It's like, can you pass me the rice? Just like, kind of humorous, but also it's like, holy shit, that's terrifying. Imagine that, having that kind of PTSD. We just see your the dead friends and family just pop up randomly in your brain, and they just kind of be like, hey, that's all your fault, by the way. Thanks for that. The least you can do is pass me some rice.
Yeah,
And-
if you're at the point that you're getting like lucid or conscious, I guess, yeah, conscious hallucinations, like hallucinations during the day while you're out doing things, that's you're not in a good spot with
Nope.
your PTSD at that point.
Yeah, for the other ones on the table, she just becomes silent, just staring down on her plate. It's like, hey, Sam, is everything all right? Is it all right? And then somebody's like, excuse me, I just gotta go real quick. And obviously she's just completely annihilated in the brain at this moment. It's just trying to get away from it.
Pop some pills real quick.
Yeah, some drugs. And I think the parents just share a little glance. It's like, oh man, this might be a problem at some point, but we will see. She obviously has been through a lot, so it's just fine. We'll accept it. It happens. She just came back from therapy session number 700 or whatever. Let's see. Oh, then we catch up with Joshua. He seems to be dealing much better with everything because he actually is in school. He's on his way to his dorm room. So he's been, at least seems like he's been doing pretty well. He still takes medication. You can see some pills later on, but he seems to he's been trying to just get over it, basically. Just lock in, if you will, and just finish school and do something instead of thinking back all the time. And this is where the movie worried me for the first time, because he goes to the dorm room and we have like this chick is like, oh, it's you want to get on my podcasts? And I was like, oh, please don't do some cringe online thing. Please don't do that. But we don't, which made me very happy. We get like a small scene where she talks to someone about the murders, but there's not like a weird thing where they try to portray online people in a super dumb way.
Yeah.
Like every time something starts happening, like I'm like, oh god! Every time they've tried it in any movie, it's just so bad. But no, it's
every time I go back and watch the Batman, man, when they're like, the Joker or sorry, not the Joker, the Riddler has 500 followers. I'm like, 500? Like it's not very much.
Yeah. They don't even go into like viewer number specifically or anything here, or do these overlay shots when they do the podcast, because I was worried Jonathan is going to go on the podcast and she's going to ask like a lot of stupid questions. It's going to be really cringe, but that's not even a thing in here. So I was very happy when that did not happen. But yeah, she's basically like, oh, I'm doing this true crime podcast. Do you want to go on? He's like, I don't really do these kind of things. He's like, oh, please, please, please. And she's the girlfriend of his roommate. By the way, I should probably add that. And he's like, I don't know. And then he gets a call by Sienna, and he's like, I don't know. I'll think about it. She's like, yeah, he thinks about it. That's great. And yeah, so we have these two to kill for later, so that's good.
Oh my, do we?
Oh yeah, we. Whoa. I always look forward to the kills in this. It's so good.
Yeah, if you're annoyed by either of these characters, this has one of the best action scenes of the year in that case. 'Cause, man, it's quite the scene. We'll get to it.
Yeah. But yeah, Sienna phones Joshua. It's like, hey, let's see if everything's alright. It's like, yeah, looking forward to hang out with you, Crimbus. Like, yeah, me too. And obviously she's worried because she's starting to see more things, and it's like, oh shit, maybe he's back. But at this point, she doesn't really have anything to go by, if you will. So she kind of frames it as a, hey, how you doing call, even though, you know, she's worried and scared.
Yeah, and I think even she's not 100% sure if she's worried or scared for a real reason.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Considering we do know that she actively hallucinates.
And then we get a little tinkering session with Art. Because he's building some weird fucking contraption. I think this is like a really fun thing with Art the Clown. Like, we already know he's like this weird demonic creature that can't really die, and he could probably rip you apart with his bare hands, but he just goes around, just starts tinkering. It's like, I'm gonna build this thing that freezes you, and then I can beat you to death while you're frozen. Because I'm just fucking insane. Let's see. Oh yeah, he tests this on some rats, and he smashes the rat, and he's like, ooh, look at this. Ooh. Like, again, just seeing him do like these horrible things, and then he does like his gestures and his faces, and it's like, look at this. There's something about him being mute as well. It just works. I don't know. I just fucking love it. It's so fun.
I mean, I think, yeah, him miming his, like, what he's thinking as opposed to saying anything, I think is like one of the things that makes Art as cool as he is.
Yeah.
He's very, very, very expressive, despite the fact that he doesn't make a single sound.
Yeah. As someone says, it's a liquid nitrogen extinguisher. That's a good way to put it.
I actually use those at work to treat warts. We
okay.
spray them with liquid nitrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Not nearly as intensely as Art does to anything in this movie, though.
Wait, you don't freeze the whole person to do that?
No.
Lame.
Very, very small targeted area, and our extinguisher has much less of a arc of fire. It's very pinpoint.
Sounds like you need some upgrades. That's what that sounds like to me. And then we just have another little bonding scene with Gabby and Sienna, where she does the makeup for her. I don't actually know why. Maybe just for the lulz, because they're hanging out. She's like,
fun metal. Just trying to calm her down. God.
Well, that's why I said maybe just for the lulz.
Yeah, I think she was just trying to get back into a hobby and feel normal, because she said, I forgot how much I enjoyed doing this and stuff, so...
Yeah, not bad. Just having a little bit of character. And then we get to the next killing stuff. Woohoo! Because I guess what happened here is Art is just roaming the streets, I guess making his way to Sienna, because the way I got it from this movie, I'm just going to say it now, because it's going to be a good context for later when I ask questions. I assume he and Sienna have some kind of connection, magic, bullshittery, whatever it is, that he kind of knows where she is around, so he finds her if he wants to. What do you guys think about that? Not everyone at once.
Wait, sorry, rephrase the question, just so I make sure I'm answering correctly.
No, I just did a theory. I was wondering, the way I understand it, Sienna and Art, they have like this kind of bond, so he kind of knows where she is, so he gets there somehow.
I can believe that, considering
some magic bullshittery. That's my theory, because otherwise I have no idea how he gets to anything.
Magic bullshittery sounds reasonable to me. I guess you're right, because there wouldn't really be any actual reason why he would know where to look.
Yeah.
Well, there was that theme of telepathy in 2 with the pale little girl, and also the fact that she could like mimic Jonathan's voice on the phone and stuff. So like, I'm pretty sure there's some fucked up shit going on.
Yeah. So I think between those two, there's definitely some kind of bond that he can track her to some degree, I guess. And I'm just trying to make some case on how he even got here, because because otherwise he would just be wandering around, just like saw this guy, saw Santa, was like, ooh, I like Santa, I'm gonna go in here now. Which I guess happened anyway, but he just made his way to Sienna or the area he might think she is and saw this. But yeah, he goes to this bar because he sees Santa in there, and he's up to all his shenanigans.
He pushes the girls out of the way.
Oh yeah, Santa has like girls on his lap. Is like, oh, go make a wish, and then they leave. They're like both really drunk, and Nahar just rushes through the door, just pushes them over. It's really funny. And he's like, yo, that's Santa, and he goes like, woo, and even like tucks on the beard. It's like, hey, that's a real beard. He's like, oh. Like, this is
even better.
yeah, this is the fun time for him. And then there's like a little subversion here. It's like, hey, what do you got in your sack over there? And he's like, oh, one moment. He goes in there, and everyone is like, oh shit, he's gonna fucking nuke them right here. But he just gets out his clown horn. He goes like, doo 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 doo. And everyone has a good time, and they just have some drinks. They're just having some drinks.
Well, everyone but Art, because
Yeah.
it's implied Art's never had alcohol before, and that's where things go wrong.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's as soon as we get back here, yeah, he spits it out.
Yeah, because the big thing is the Santa immediately assumes he's like mentally disabled. He's like, be nice.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, we leave the scene actually with everyone having a good time. Nobody died yet, and it was like, oh shit, is Art making friends? What's going on?
He's just getting a little taste of being a bro, I guess.
Yeah, it's
having
like
some beers, shooting the
some
shit.
some brewskis
kind of.
with the boys. Nothing wrong with that. And then we go, yeah. Then it's a scene I mentioned in my little blurb here. We just get a scene between Sienna and her aunt, where they just reminisce about the mother. It's like she even says like, I miss my mother. It's like, oh shit, we didn't forget about the family being dead. That's good. And it's like just a somber scene where we do some talking about the dead mother and how they miss her. I was like, yes.
Acknowledging the events of the previous film. Who would have thought that would be a good thing to do in sequels?
Yeah, they even talk about how she swears a lot and even said like cunt at one point that she did like in church or something. It's like actually kind of a funny story that you would totally talk about when you talk about your past family. It's a nice scene. I really enjoy it. This is like these things that I really like in these movies. In this movie specifically, where they acknowledge like, yeah, this happened by the way, and
yeah, and I mean, what's crazy is like for a guy who started as a VFX artist and who the first feature, at least I'm not sure if he made any features before this, but like this first feature that really kicked off, being so devoid of character development and I guess story beyond the specifics of the plot. Like he does a lot of cool stuff with characters. It's like, why is this guy such a good storyteller? Like, we've got people getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars, or probably not hundreds of millions for the script, but millions of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands, to write script for $100 million movies that just they don't grasp the basic mechanics of, hey, what are things we can do to like make these characters seem human?
Well, I think all that happened was, what happened? He thought about, what happened in the last movie? We should probably acknowledge this in the sequel with the same character that just lost all their friends and parents. So we should probably at least acknowledge this. And this is like, the premise is like very simple. Like, so there's not like a whole lot to take. Oh God. To take account of. So the few things we should probably acknowledge, they get acknowledged from a character standpoint, from what I've understood. So, I'm thumbs up. It's just good stuff. Just small little things like this. That's all you need sometimes. You don't need like a crazy 15-minute scene. This is like a 2-minute scene from what I remember, and it's like, yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, don't forget the fundamentals. Dude, these little scenes that make the characters seem more like real people do help. Even in a slasher movie that's trashy and that doesn't need anything but blood and cool kills.
Yeah.
Which, trust me, as a fan of slasher movies, I hear a lot of people make that argument all the time, and I'm just like, yeah, but all the good ones have more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, back to the bar. Upsala. They order some drinks for everybody, and the barkeeper is like, "Oh, you got some ID?" He's like, "Oh, come on, he's clearly old enough." It's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna lose my ID because of some clown." And then I think he shows him the ID of of one of the guys he killed in the house.
Yeah, no,
pretty
it's
sure.
the black cop. Like,
Oh, is it really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And like, there's something about like the guy.
guy, the
Well, but-
demolition dude.
I thought it was something about like the guy's name that the dude's like. No
Maurice
way.
Jackson? Yeah, someone in chat just wrote it. Yeah. And artist is like,
Whatever. I'm wearing makeup and prosthetic nose. You have no
Yeah,
idea
that's
what
low
actually-
key smart of
Yeah.
art to carry around people's IDs and they can't confirm because of the makeup.
Big.
Actually, would have been a good reference if it was one of his previous kills.
Yeah, true.
That would have been good. Way to do that.
And they order some drinks, and Howard just spits it into Santa's face. It's like, "Oh, that's rude. That's just rude. Get off me!" And then he starts peeing on his lap, and everybody gets angry. Like he turns around to him and just like his
Yeah.
evil smile, and just starts pissing. It's like, "God damn it!" Well, it's time for shit to go down.
What is with the demons expelling waste? Like
I don't know,
Art
man.
peeing on his lap and then the pale little girl in the laundromat just pooping everywhere.
Oh,
Like,
that was, ugh.
I know
Well,
they just kind
Oof.
of go.
Well, it's just, demons are supposed to be degenerate,
Yeah, but then later in the movie, Art actually uses a urinal and washes his hands after the fact. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, "What?"
Hey,
Just
it
being
chooses
a,
its
he's just being a
moments.
troll, a disgusting and
Yeah,
brutal
has
troll.
to be a troll.
Yeah, they kick him out or try to, and then we have another Glock moment with Art because he gets out a gun again and just starts shooting everyone.
He stays strapped, I swear.
Yeah. I just like he holds Santa at gunpoint. It's like, "Here, you can take my hat. You look good on with it and everything." It's just like the Santa guy is just trying his best to just survive, basically. But he straps him down on the thing, and that Santa made a claim at some point that he regrets because he said, "Oh, without a real beard, you're not a real Santa." I was like, "Uh-oh."
Oh boy.
Because he's gonna take that beard. And he tries to plead with him. It's like, "Oh," I think he calls him Clowny or something, right? Clowny,
I
no.
don't remember that.
It's like, "I have 4 kids or so in the family or whatever." It's like, we're both in the same business. We make people laugh. It's just so funny the things he tries to convince him with. Like he appeals to their professions. Like, "You're a clown. I'm Santa. We all make people laugh." It's like, not quite.
Yeah, we know that the appeal to fatherhood is going to have nothing at all to
No.
no effect on Art in the slightest.
Because he gets this liquid nitrogen extinguisher out and freezes his leg and just smashes it and looks nasty and gross as everything does.
I think I freaked out some of the people in my theater when I walked out with a prosthetic leg after that.
Oh God, it's Santa Claus.
You should have
yeah,
been
that
the
was
first
me,
one out
man.
and said that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
So what happened to liquid nitrogen? in a
I've
baseball bat.
I've seen some fun things on Twitter where the Art was like in full getup in like screenings of the movie throughout America and just fucking around with people. It was like, "No, Art, you can't eat the baby," and he goes like, "Hmm." It was pretty fun. Yeah, he freezes his face up as well and rips off his beard, and I think he kind of folds it, if I remember correctly, and just puts it in his pocket, basically. Just, "Oh, I'll take that, thank you." Just puts it in there. Oh yeah, I also remember he takes like a carrot and just pushes this into his face.
Yeah.
A carrot from like a from an Iceman snowman.
Snowman, yeah. The second I saw the carrot, I was like, oh, that's not gonna go well.
Yeah.
Something bad's gonna happen with the carrot.
Yeah, so he freezes him and bashes him with a hammer, and it's not a good time. Some good prosthetics again. Actually, it's not prosthetic. I think it's like a puppet with like moving
Yeah.
eyes they use. Because I remember the eyes moving. If you look at them, they look kind of mechanical. If you really look at it. But yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Fun stuff.
Yeah, even the over the top gore scenes in this one look a lot less. They're further away from the trauma end of the spectrum than
For
the other
sure.
two movies
They
are.
definitely have an improvement over the second movie in terms of looking a little bit more realistic, I think.
Especially in that shower scene, and we will.
Oh, yeah.
God, that scene is nasty. Let's see. We go back to the family where they just hang out. I think the parents are talking about how well, the father specifically is like, hey, we should probably look out. Like, we should take a look out. This might become a problem for all of us if she has like more of these freakouts. He's worried about his family, and you know what? I get it. That's totally understandable. I think she's just writing some stuff in her journal and whatever. Is there something specific she writes in there that should be mentioned right now? I'm trying to remember. I remember they made
I don't recall.
they zoomed in on the journal, but I don't recall what's
I
in there
think it's
specifically.
a note that Jonathan wrote to her about needing to kill the pale little girl because it's a demon.
Oh, is that the note she takes out
Yeah.
later when you talk? Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's probably it then. And oh boy, we we're going to the mall, baby. God, I love that scene. So basically, Gabby and Sienna they're going here for some shopping. Yeah, just some Christmas shopping basically. And this is why I put out my theory later that they're like kind of connected in like a telepathy kind of dealio, because he gets here. Sorry? Telepathic, yes, there you go. Because she sees him, at least she thinks, but she's not sure because he's wearing a mask. But we know it is him, so he's already kind of stalking her, checking out what she's up to, knowing where she is. So that's why I have the theory that's been going on. You only see like his bloody hand thingies. So she's pretty sure it's him, but she can't really say for sure because of the mask.
His bloody hand thingies. Do you mean his
Gloves.
fingerless gloves?
Yeah, they're not fingerless here, I think. Are they? It doesn't matter.
They're
I'm
like
pretty sure he
partially
wears-
gloves and hand wraps. That's what
Okay.
it looks like.
Yeah.
I thought they were fingerless gloves.
He definitely had some. For some reason, I think it changes. Maybe I'm just crazy. It doesn't really matter that much. It's just something I remember. So she's freaked out, and they, I think they just leave shortly after this because they're not here when the action happens. Then we get a little scene where Jonathan is back at the school. Oh yeah, she leaves now for the school and meets up with Jonathan. Just kind of talks to him. And then he's just kind of checking out the podcast he was thinking about going on to talk about. This is where you have like this one lady who says like, oh, she's definitely killed all these people. She was the last one there, blah blah blah. But the host is like, nah, this doesn't make any sense. But it's not even that important. I just had it written down like this. But yeah, Sienna.
Yes, well, we didn't really mention it. It's that she asked Jonathan to be a guest on her show, and Jonathan's like kind of considering it because he's at the point with his reaction to the things that happened 5 years prior that I guess he's believing the people who kind of tell him that it's all sort of in his head and that Art's gone and that you don't have to worry and anything like that. Because as like the thing that Miss Slaughter was mentioning about the note where he says we have to find the little girl and stop her. Like he was clearly on board with, no, there's more work that we need to do to make sure that he stays gone. And now he's like, I don't know, whatever. I'm just trying to move on with my life. Maybe I will do this girl's podcast. She's cute. She seems interested in me. So
yeah, he had the hyper fixation after Terrifier 2 on demonology and like studying it and like trying to figure out what the hell art was and like what happened and stuff. And then at some point he just kind of dropped it, I guess, and just was like, you know what? Instead of dwelling on this, I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, Sienna's basically is trying to convince him to come to the house earlier. It's like, hey, I just want to hang out. So I think I saw him or whatever, so I want to hang out earlier. And he's like, oh, I can't. I'm actually invited to this party I want to go to. And she's like, oh shit, you're gonna go to a party? That's cool. And then his roommate comes up, and they're just kind of. I can't really tell because we don't get like a lot of scenes between them if they actually doing some banter or if he like actually doesn't like his roommate. Like, it could go either way. It's not important for this movie. I was just kind of wondering, it's like, are they bros, or does Joshua actually not like him because he's a dick? I don't know. Jonathan, yeah.
Well, I think they do make it. They do definitely, especially with the girl who like wants Jonathan on the podcast, effectively being his roommate's girlfriend. I think that he's a bit jealous, and maybe that's not even exactly the word, but I guess envious of the fact that that dude's just a normal college guy having a normal college life, whereas he's sort of fighting back all of these like negative feelings because of what happened to him, and he really wants to just be normal college kid.
Yeah. He's about to, hey, you're gonna come to the party, blah 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 blah, and then the girl arrives. She's like, "Oh my God, it's Sienna! I know everything about you. Oh, how are you doing? Doing this podcast? If you want to come on, how do you cope with everything?" And Sienna didn't like that question.
Yeah, she reacts to it much more negatively than her brother does.
Yeah, it's like, how do I cope? I see my dead friends and family all the time. I have severe PTSD. I went to therapy for like 5 years, so yeah. Basically, she's coping badly with it, and she's like, she's angry with her, which I, understand. She's mentally much more in a downward spiral still, and still thinking he's out there, especially after today. So she's kind of, you could say rude, but I also understand, of course.
Yeah, I mean, she had a point saying, like, can you be fucking human for once?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that are, like, too into being a true crime enthusiast where they don't really recognize that these are real people and real victims that are affected, while they're kind of just like promoting killers and criminals and stuff and like glorifying them through their true crime podcasts and whatever. Like I definitely think that was nice for Sienna's character to add that in, because people need to hear that. Like, it's disrespectful sometimes how you go about presenting true crime content.
And I think the girl also, she really expected Sienna to just be the simplest form of the archetype. Like, yeah, you're the hero who got away, so obviously your life's totally fine now.
Yeah.
And like expected her to be like a clout chaser or something, being like wanting to tell her story and shit instead of just like struggling with the trauma day to day.
Yeah. But yeah, then they go away, and Sienna tells him like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure I saw him today." It's like, "Oh, are you sure?" It's like, "No, not really. Like, I'm actually not sure what's real and what's in my head anymore." And it's another thing I really like. She's not immediately just like, "No, I'm definitely right. Like, I saw him 100%. Like, I'm not crazy." There's definitely still the thing going on where she's doubting herself. It's like, I don't actually know if that's true. Maybe it's just my PTSD that I definitely have. But also, I had the feeling, And as we know, there's supernatural stuff happening in this. So her saying she has like a feeling he might be there might be more to that than just, a gut feeling that you and I might have.
I think at this point, Jonathan's just so committed to the like, yeah, I've just got to start getting over it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't get pulled down this road. And even if Sienna's telling me things that I really should be taking seriously because I know she was the one who was actually there and knows the truth, maybe it's just Sienna's trauma acting up in weird ways. You know, like maybe that's why like she's still not okay enough to be out of the hospital, and that's why she yelled at the pretty girl who I was hoping would have me on her podcast.
Yeah.
And that's it. He wants everyone around him to be right about the situation, even when Sienna is the one who is actually right.
Yeah, and also like the whole situation is terrifying, like the title.
Yeah.
So like he's probably very reluctant to even step back into this whole fucking world of Art the Clown, you know, like doesn't want to believe it's real and back, you know, even though he had a like inkling when he was doing all that research on demonology and stuff, like it's gonna come back, but now that it's possibly here and he's hearing it from Sienna, like he's like, oh fuck, like I don't want to deal with this again.
Absolutely. Someone in chat just wrote, so he nearly texted the aunt that Sienna was getting worse. That's true, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And this is also where she
deletes the text right before he sends it.
Yeah, and then he doesn't.
Yeah, he has that breakdown in his room and he like throws stuff around and then he kind of curls up in the fetal position. So he definitely doesn't want to deal with this shit and he doesn't know whether to believe Sienna or not and like come to terms with reality.
And as we mentioned, the actor does a significantly better job in Terrifier 3
Agreed.
than his performance in Terrifier 2. It seemed like he
There was
either
a
got
lot of
better
growth.
direction or he was really like, people were saying that I was one of the weaker parts of that movie, so I've really got to bring it for this one. And yeah, no, I think.
But
he
to
did a
be
good job.
fair, his original character was just a dumb little kid, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not super difficult to play that, I would assume. But, you know, and you can kind of give it a pass if it comes out a little bit corny or whatever because kids, you know, are cringe. So
Yeah, that's true.
sometimes. So, you know, but I agree. He definitely grew a lot into his character, especially having to be older 5 years later.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
not looking much older too. Like he definitely matured, I think, as a character.
Yeah, and he has to deal with sort of more complex material in Terrifier 3 as well, which, yeah. So good on you, Jonathan Actor. I don't know your name offhand, but if you're listening to Metal's Forge, then or the Forge.
Yes. No, 100% agree.
Elliot Fullerman.
What was that?
The actor's name is Elliot Fullerman.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, Elliot Fulham.
Elliot
He took his
Fulham,
grandparents to see the movie.
Yeah.
I saw that on Twitter.
Dude, like, is his grandparents okay?
I don't know.
Like having
That's
someone do a
fair. In
wellness check
chat,
on them now.
he says, seems like he should have done more in 3. I feel like, yeah,
Yeah.
Jonathan didn't have as big of a part as he should have, I think, in 3.
Yeah, I
Like,
would have.
he was only there a fraction of the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's one of my biggest issues with the movie.
Yeah, coming up on, you know, what we're going to talk about later about Jonathan, so.
Yeah, I was quite sad and a little annoyed as well.
Yeah, because, you know, it's ambiguous, though, because we did not see it. It's off screen, so that's why it's like, I mean, but then the glasses and all that stuff, so that's why I was kind of irked about that. I'm like, that's a main character, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, to do it off screen like that, that's like,
I guess the theory of like, oh, but what if Jonathan's alive? We didn't actually see him die. That could be anyone's head. It's like, how did Art get his glasses?
yeah, the glasses.
Like, is there a scenario in which he just steals Jonathan's glasses and leaves? Like, I feel
I
like
mean,
that wouldn't
they
happen.
could come up with something where Art got the uncle and then Jonathan got away and then he just took the glasses or whatever, you know. They could do whatever they want with that because technically we did not see him die, so you can't confirm.
Well, he was at the. He was at. It'd be weird for him not to. It just annoys me that it's off screen. I think that's the
Yeah.
biggest mistake for it to be off screen.
Well,
I'm
Elliot
pretty
Fulham's
sure that's
grandpa
where
was
it
there.
went, but like I don't think a lot of fans want to accept it just because it's off screen, you know.
Oh, I know. My sister was coping.
Yeah.
I guess, like,
After the ending.
I don't know. I
She's like,
mean,
he can't be dead. He can't be dead. That's it's
At
not
the
good.
same time, I guess that like him being a character who we didn't want to die for all of Terrifier 2 and probably did not want to have him die here, maybe killing him off screen is the better way to do it, considering how intense the kills are in this series. Like maybe that would have been too
True.
much to
Seeing a main character
Jonathan
get
torn apart.
absolutely mutilated by art. But then again, it does serve a good purpose to make Sienna stronger, because this is just fueling her with more rage and like
Oh, yeah.
vengeance against art. So now we're gonna see like her at her top fucking game in the next movie. So I'm really excited for that.
Yes. Where were we? Oh yeah, and I think she also talks about the demon stuff he was talking about. Like he he wrote her like every week about that stuff when she first got into therapy. And I think he basically says that, well, at least I'm fucking trying to get over it, and then he leaves the room.
And honestly, any therapist who's trying to get a person like a PTSD patient to have a better quality of life and be able to live happier would absolutely be telling him, you got to stop. Demonology shouldn't be your hobby, Jonathan. You got to get away from this stuff, okay? Because you're safe now. You can relax, and you need to learn how to be a human being and exist in society again. And yeah, and in any other normal situation, those doctors would probably be right. But yeah, we're dealing with demons here.
Anyway, time to blow up some children.
Best segue in the history of our show.
So, Art is still in the mall. He's just kind of going around, and we see there's a mall Santa, and he says, "I'm gonna take a break now." And Art takes that chance to sit on the Santa throne with the beard that he took from the other guy, and just taped on his chin.
Also, his sack of presents is from the first house from the beginning. He basically took all of those gifts after murdering the family, and that's why he has all those toys in his sack.
Oh no!
Like, is it the same boxes? I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, I think somebody confirmed that when I was doing some research online. I was like, that makes sense though.
That's
to just
fun.
take all those
That's
free
good.
presents.
Nice detail.
That's pretty fun. But yeah, he's there. None of the parents are really paying attention because they don't expect anyone to be there. And he just sees that one child, like, "Oh, come over here. I got some presents for you." And then all the children's like, "Yo, presents, poggers. Let's go grab the presents." And the one guy who plays like the elf, like, that's not Bill, or whatever his name was. And then you can see the security guy's like, "Okay, get out of here. Go away, kids. That's might be some creepy guy that likes children or whatever." And it's like, no, not quiet. He gets thrown out, and we focus on this one child. So I'm laughing again about this because I think it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, like it honestly.
Like, I was expecting,
because
I was expecting anything, but I didn't expect this. He opens the present, and it's just a huge fucking explosion. You see
Oh,
fucking
no,
outside.
it's even better. It's the last kid. He grabs the gift. He's like, "Oh boy, I wonder what I got."
Yeah.
doesn't
And
the
it's just
mom
like,
actually kind of tell him to not open it too at the last second?
She
I feel
like she tells him to get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
I honestly
fucking
thought it was
funny.
going to be something like a snake or like like something a little less big. But yeah, no, then just blows up every single person in the general vicinity with an
Oh.
explosion that functions like an explosion. Which, having rewatched the Batman, I'm telling you, that,
They said there was like 5 casualties.
Yeah,
I
5
think.
people got killed in
Yeah.
there.
And,
So
like,
yeah.
Oh
ton
really?
more
God,
were
it
wounded.
kind of looked like it leveled everybody. It was like, yeah, because I feel like I didn't see a lot of people running around afterwards.
No, sure.
But we know it was a mix of the kids and the parents,
Yeah.
because when they do the pan of the bodies, you can
Yeah.
tell.
But yeah, that took me so off guard, dude. I was like watching, and then the explosion happens, and I just burst out laughing. It's so good.
Yeah, it just proves that there is no class of weapon that art is above you.
No, he just.
But I love
goes to
that
town.
because that's such a clown thing. You know how clowns are always pulling stuff out of
Yeah,
their back,
yeah.
behind their back, and they
Surprise!
have
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, exactly. So the fact that he can just do anything is my favorite thing about art.
Yeah. So Art would be labeled as a domestic terrorist now, right? I mean,
And yeah,
I think that when they see it on the telly, like, I think Gabby actually says, "Was that a terrorist?" It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is labeled as a terrorist attack because they don't know
Yeah.
what's happening.
well, yeah, because
'Cause-
generally bombings tend to be like, I mean, it's yeah, not the kind of thing that normally doesn't have a big reason behind it, at least for the perpetrator. But for Art, it's just Tuesday. And
Yeah.
and Bison did.
The problem we now have, though, we have.
Speaking of killing children, real quick,
Yeah.
in the book adaptation of Terrifier 2, you know the scene where they scare the girl with the dead possum before going into school with Art?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Apparently, in the book, it's confirmed that Art killed those two bullies that shows the girl the possum.
Oh, really?
So
Huh.
he's like murdering kids even in, off screen, I guess, in 2,
All
which
right.
was
Oh, man.
confirmed only in the book. So yeah, he's pretty savage. This is just more kids for his leaderboard, I guess.
Yeah, put it on the docket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we have a problem for the next one, though. Possible problem. In the next movie, we kind of need to do something about him not getting caught in any way or not found out, because he's here in the very obvious getup, and there's definitely cameras here in that mall. There's lots of people who saw him, so that something we need to acknowledge in the next ones, like something with police or whatever. That's definitely a problem we need to address in the next one when it happens. I mean, hasn't happened yet, but you know what I mean, right? Because we have like a public thing that happened now in broad daylight.
Yeah, and people saw someone who looked exactly like the Miles County Clown in a Santa costume. So I don't know why red flags weren't being raised right there because, like he came back eventually. So it's kind of an infamous thing that happened in the county. So that's why I was like, people saw him. There was witnesses. They
Yeah.
should like be like, oh, he's back.
Yeah, SWAT versus Art. I'd watch that.
That'd be interesting. A SWAT team go into the warehouse from the first movie and see if Art can take them all out. It's
Yeah,
like
so
the raid, but instead of anyone, it's Art the Clown.
yeah, so gotta see what's up with that in the next movie, because this happened and then some crazy murder happens where Sienna was, so that's probably gonna pop up. So gonna see how that's gonna be addressed in the next one, because I feel like we gotta do that now somehow. But yeah, the kids exploded, and it's really funny. That's my takeaway from the scene.
Yeah, it actually is pretty funny, despite the subject matter.
It's probably the funniest scene in this movie. It got me good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Honestly, bringing the kids so much joy right before he explodes them. Like,
Yay! I
such
love
a troll, dude.
I love Santa Claus.
I think it's made even funnier that right before the kid opens it, the actual mall Santa comes up. He's like, "Oh, what's going on around here?"
What's going on? around here? Time for the real Santa Claus to come back. Boom! It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Then we have the. I guess we already talked about this. Jonathan going back to his dorm room, has this freak out, and writes the text but doesn't send it, and then just kind of passes out in his bed. We also hear in the other conversation that Sienna apparently hid the weapon before she went into therapy. Which I'm actually happy that I did the rewatch, because that confused me in my first part, because I didn't really make the connections. Like, oh, obviously she's gonna hide the weapon, because they probably won't let her have a weapon in therapy, I would assume.
Yeah, no,
Especially not a
definitely
big
not.
blade.
Yeah, that was one part that I was like a little bummed that we didn't see, like that she hid the sword at the Terrifier and then she went back there to go retrieve it. And I was kind of bummed because that's a really scary place, obviously. So like, I feel like it would have been nice to have at least like a small scene of showing her go back there and like find it, just like a little poignant moment. But then all we see is her cut back to the house, and then you see her hands dirty with dirt. And like that's implied that she went and got it already. So I was like, oh, that was kind of a jump, but I wish we could have saw her go retrieve it.
Yeah, because she even says like, I need to go back to the Terrifier. I was like, oh shit, are we gonna get a
Yeah.
fight there again? It's like, no, it's just basically, not basically, it is off screen.
Yeah, I was thinking it would involve maybe the end of the movie happening there again, but it's kind of good that it didn't though. But yeah, like Miss Slaughter though is right. Having a scene of her doing that and maybe even cut with the flashback of her burying it to begin with might have been not terrible.
Yeah.
But I guess though that maybe they didn't have the budget to like get a whole carnival scene built for such a small purpose.
That's fair. Yeah, just extra expenses, but they be making bank off of these movies now, so.
Oh yeah. No. This is the most expensive of the three by quite a lot, but it's got millions in the budget.
It just crossed 50 million.
Yeah, it's funny you say, oh, it's so much more expensive than the last one, and it's like 2 million, which is like nothing for a movie these days.
2 million, which for like a movie that has a theatrical release is minuscule. Literally 100 times less than
was
Joker
like
2.
Yeah.
250,000, I think. Was that the first movie's budget?
Second one, I think, was around
Or second
that,
one?
right?
Yeah, second was 250,
okay.
and the first one was 35.
First one was 35.
Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah, that's still astronomically low for the value of these movies, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the second one already made millions back. I think that made like 15 million, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
And now this one does 50, so they're doing well. I feel like people are just enjoying the fun of it and just the craziness.
Agreed. And the fact that it's independent is what makes that happen. Because Hollywood would not approve most of the stuff that Damien keeps in his movies. In fact, he already confirmed that he cut out a lot. So I'm hoping we get a director's cut at some point.
I mean, if there's, I'm waiting for a.
In the third act.
Yeah.
A lot of what they cut out is from the third act, is what you said, James?
Yeah.
Ah.
So.
I definitely if I'm waiting for the trilogy collection or whatever, or quadrilogy. Is there a word for four?
Quadrilogy was the one that the Alien franchise used for its DVD set, but I don't know. Quartet probably would be the one. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, if the fourth one does end up being the last one, it's effectively a trilogy that has a prologue.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely going to get physical copies of these movies. I want them in crisp 4K HD, Ultra HD. Gonna use that fucking PlayStation for something. But yeah.
4K movies and Astrobot.
Yeah, Sienna got the sword back and just puts it behind the Crimbus tree, and hides it there in a wrapped package. And then we go to
fucking Gabby sees it.
Yeah, because she's good at snooping around. They said it earlier. It's like, oh, she got very good at opening and repackaging the gift because she thinks that gift is for her. So there's your
little rat.
Your little setup there. Anyway, Art has stolen the car of the demolition guys. And he drove to the house party. I'm still not sure where actually he went. Is it the house that has all the dorm rooms, or is it the house that has the party they were talking about? Because there's a couple of people that go inside with him.
I think the party is at the dorm rooms, just a different part.
Oh,
okay. You see the kids carrying in a keg, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's not a cake, it's 3 cakes. And
is it 3 kegs?
Oh. Nice. Like all 3 of them are holding it, and he just opens the door for him.
And he's so courteous around that whole scene, like in between all of the kills. Like that's the time where he uses the urinal and washes his hands, and he holds the door open and stuff. He's such a troll. It's the best.
Yeah, because I only remember because the last guy's like, "Thanks, dude," and Art just like rapidly shakes his hand up and down, like, yep, falls in right behind him.
Yeah. Well, you do bleed more when you're drunk, so maybe he has a vested interest in allowing them to drink as much as they want.
Well, I also think it's a good show that every time someone is nice to Art, he, for the most part, usually returns that courtesy. Because the big thing with like, the bar
scene, he'll just kill them quickly.
Well, yeah, because the big thing with the bar scene is the Santa guy is nice 90% of the time, the one guy is a little off. He's like, and then the bartender's like just a dick the whole time, and he only gets super pissed at them right after he, spits the beer or whatever. It's probably whiskey.
I
Spits
think
the
it's some
whiskey back
shot,
in his
yeah.
face, and everyone gets super pissed about it. So I think that's a good. They still carry that over. That's like people who are nice to him tend to live a little bit longer.
Yeah. So, how did he figure out to go here? Because I don't think he has some mental connection with Jonathan. That's a question.
I think he just went there because that's where the party was.
But why? He doesn't know about any parties.
Then my best guess would be, well, Jonathan saw the girl a lot, and she's the one who imitates voices. So that's
The only
probably
thing I can think of is that Sienna went from the mall to the college, and if he has a link to Sienna, then he probably assumed that that's
Yeah,
where
you do the
Jonathan
math.
is. Yeah.
well, remember Jonathan saw the ghost girl a lot more than Sienna did.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
that's probably
Yeah, so maybe they do also have a connection. Okay.
because you can't because remember Art doesn't specifically know Jonathan is there until he a little bit later where he actually listens to the conversation from his roommate.
Well, if he doesn't know he's here, then my question is
It's like a
even.
feeling because that's all. It's like a feeling because it's the same thing with seeing Sienna at the mall
Mm-hmm.
because he's just walking through there and then he stops and turns and sees her.
Yeah. So
So
I guess they also have some kind of connection because Jonathan saw the little girl. So I guess there might be something there as well. Maybe because they're related and the whole thing goes through. I don't know. I could just guess here. I'm just trying to make sense of it, basically, in
well, it's
some
demon
way.
bullshit. So
It's
who knows?
we can. It all boils down to magic shenanigans, basically. I think.
It's demon bullshit, and the girl is clearly in control of Art, and
Hmm.
she does more. She has far more of a connection than Art does, but she's the one who kind of directs him half the time.
I wonder
Especially,
what Vicky's doing during all these scenes where Art's just
Mm,
working alone. Like, was she chilling back at the house, like waiting for his next move that involves her? Like, I don't know, because
good
we don't see
question.
her until the last act. Yeah.
well, she's clearly
Well,
making that costume and doing her makeup.
that's fair.
I'm
Which
busy, Art.
fucking
You
takes
go and
forever.
murder some people. But yeah, he's going there, holds up the door for the people. But before we might do some more shenaniganders, we go back to the house where they have a little talksy, and Gabby says, "Oh, she doesn't like cereal anymore." Which, by the way, only on my second watch, I was like, "Oh, that's actually a nice little thing," because she saw in that dream thing the cereal with all the knives in there, so she probably doesn't want to eat cereal anymore. So I think it's just a nice little touch.
Yeah, she mentions in 2 at the breakfast table, she's like, or like at school, she was like, "Can we not talk about cereal?"
Yeah,
To Allie. And then she writes it in her journal, apparently, in the 3rd one.
yeah, just a funny thing. But yeah, Gabby says that she doesn't like it anymore, and it's like, how did she know that? So she goes up to her room. It's like, you read my journal, didn't you? It's like, oh yeah, I just didn't know. I wanted to know what happened to you, and she is she's angry with her in a reasonable way because she also still understands, like, okay, as a child, like, oh, of course she would do that. Uh, but also it's like, hey, can't tell like anyone because that's like really private stuff or whatever. And I don't know, does she tell her that this all true, or what does she? I don't have the wording written down or anything. I'm just trying to remember what exactly she says to Gabby.
Gabby
Besides,
asked if she actually decapitated Art, and she said no,
uh,
no, she didn't. And she's like, damn.
damn, that was so cool. But she did,
Yeah.
and it was cool.
Oh, that was the best part of the story.
But yeah, time for killing times, because Art is going around. He's got some Crimbus glasses on, I guess is what you can call them. Jonathan's roommate is calling him. It's like, hey, if you feel better, just pick up and call me back. And we see another fun scene. So Art is just listening into these two's conversation. And she's oh, he's like the most famous killer right after what did she say Jason or something, or Leatherface? She mentions like some.
Wait, I think she mentions a real person, right?
I thought she said Jack the Ripper.
Oh, Jack the Ripper. It's like, oh,
yeah,
maybe even better than Jack the Ripper. And you cut to him and he goes like, ah, come on, stop, just making me blush.
Yeah.
And then, and they actually threw me a little curveball here, which I really enjoyed, because she's like, you don't think I was like too insensitive with his sister, right? And the guy's like, you know what? Actually, I do think you were very insensitive. It's like, oh shit, he has his own feelings about stuff. He's not just a fucking puppet.
Right.
He's actually like, no, I actually do think that was quite insensitive. It's like, oh, it was like 5 years ago. How bad could it be? And he just goes like, I don't think that's something you just get over after 5 years. And I was like, holy shit. He's in this movie for like 5 minutes and he has like his own character a little bit. I was like, good stuff. I like that.
It's really funny too, because even Jonathan earlier in the movie says, no, he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And he's like being the most empathetic person.
Right.
Yeah. But then she plays the horny card and then he's like, okay, I think I'm going to try to convince him. You're very persuasive.
I just love when she's talking to her boyfriend. She's like, I wonder what it feels like to be in his presence, to
Yeah.
look in his eyes, into what he smells like. And Art's like sniffing his armpit, and he's like, oh God. Like...
And the guy also says like, it sounds like you want to fuck him. She's like, oh, I don't want to fuck him. Then you cut back to Art. He's like, oh man, come on.
He's all offended.
Really fun little scene here. That's the and then we go back to the to the family where they see the news report about the mall blowing up. They obviously they realize like, oh shit, we were there like shortly before that happened, so lucky us. Obviously the dad is kind of freaked out by that, of course. And then Sienna's like, oh fuck, he was there. That was definitely him. He's back and he's freaking out. It's like, call Jonathan right now. Do it. And then they call him, and he basically fell asleep after, I think, when we saw him go to the bed, he just fell asleep there, I'm pretty sure.
He popped his pillows after he trashed his room, and
oh, okay, yeah.
He popped the pillows, he trashes his room, and then he fucking huddles up against his pillow and knocks the fuck out.
And then he gets woken up by the phone. He's like, oh, what's up? It's like, oh, your sister's freaking out. She says you should come over here. It's like, oh, why? What's going on? It's like, oh, she saw the news report of the mall. And he's like, yeah, sure, I can come over. And it's like, yeah, I'll come pick you up, no worries. And that's like small little setup. So they get separated, basically. The mom's just comforting the daughter, Gabby. It's like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. Everything is A-okay. And the dad's just going to pick up Jonathan. What could possibly go wrong? I don't know. And then we get the shower scene. The jock and the lady, they have some sexy times. Art is just having a piss at the urinal, which is really funny to see. While
there's just an element too of this being the most like the setup is as slasher movie trope as you can possibly get.
Absolutely,
and this is the scene that kind of goes the most nuts with its kill.
Absolutely. So he's just running around. He knows they're there. He just gets in front of it and he has a chainsaw. He gets a chainsaw out of his sack. And he stands in front of the shower cabin. And we kind of cut back and forth. And we just hear them rev the chainsaw until it goes up and just cuts through the glass. He just cuts straight into the guy's hand, and it's just fucking nasty. And hey, they don't make them completely fucking stupid. He just kind of fights back. He tries to redirect the chainsaw a little bit, does his best, but his fingers get chopped off, and then he gets chopped in the hand and in the leg, and he just kind of falls over. You see wherever the chainsaw hit him, the fucking leg just bends and cuts in half, and he just falls down, and it's just, oh, that's like the one thing where I was really like, oh god, that's gonna hurt.
Oh,
Oh
but,
boy.
so when I was in the theater, the audio was so loud. So when he walked out, all you hear is the just nasty crack when his leg collapses on itself. It's so fucking loud. You could hear
Yeah.
3 people jump in their seats behind me. It was great.
Yeah, it's good
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm pretty sure I had the dumbest smile on my face through that whole scene just because of how crazy it was. I was like, no
Same.
fucking way, dude. Like, it just kept getting, like, worse and worse as it went on, too. And it was pretty, like, lengthy, I'd say.
Yeah, and Lord of Pizza Pie there is saying some nice chainsawing action. It's like
Yeah.
some of the best that's ever been in a horror movie, as far as like they're not shying away from showing you any little bit of it, and all of the effects are like very, very good in this scene. Like,
Yeah.
it
And it
all looks
makes you
bizarrely
physically
real.
recoil
Yeah,
on what
and-
happens to these kids. Like, oh my gosh, you're just like, you feel it on your body.
I didn't feel too bad. That chick was kind of a bitch.
Well,
I
like,
felt more,
not
she felt
feeling
more
bad
bad for the guy.
like less feeling bad for them, more like feeling like the brutality of what happens to them.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
seeing like how the guy gets it, you know, just feeling that
Oh, God.
oof, like like no, I would not ever want that to happen to me.
I don't think I'm ever going to be able to listen to Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit without seeing what happens to the dude.
Oh, Art absolutely skinned his ass raw. I would
Yeah,
say more
like,
than that.
very literally.
Hell yeah. So yeah, while the guy is on the floor, the kind of bleeding out, he diverts his attention to the lady who's in the shower, and he just goes to town. He chainsaws the arm, the leg, the breasts, the fucking face, everything. Just chainsawing action everywhere. And because he overheard that she wants to be face to face with the killer and see if he has a soul or anything, he just kind of goes into a crouch, takes off the Christmas glasses,
Yeah.
looks at her eye, and just does a smile, it's like, and then
The
takes
most unhinged smile with like wide eyes, yeah.
yeah, and just puts the glasses on her and chainsaws her some more until she's dead. It's just absolutely
But
disgusting.
I like that it shows that she's still alive. I don't know if she's conscious
Yeah.
enough to recognize what's going on, but she looks at him, and so she
Mhm.
technically does look in his eyes before she passes away. So
She got her wish.
Yep.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
So yeah, sorry,
But,
that true crime podcast is cancelled.
Gonna have to find a new co-host.
Yeah.
I think specifically what happens to the dude in this scene, though, is kind of the thing that if people get too pissed off about what happens to Dawn, right? Yeah, Dawn in the first movie, that it being like, oh my god, these movies are so misogynistic. They're like, yeah, dude kind of has that same thing happen to him, but arguably
Oh
a little
yeah, for
worse.
sure. I was kind of waiting for that. I was waiting for a kill to a man to be as brutal as the one that
Mhm.
happened to Dawn, and I'm glad we
Yeah.
got it.
It's,
Yeah, because he is on the
as
floor.
as brutal or more.
He's
Yeah,
on the
or
no
more.
less. Definitely no less.
yeah. So he's on the
I don't
floor.
know. The
Yep.
Santa one was pretty brutal too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too.
So yeah, the
I
guy is
guess
on the
just the similarity of this to the Dawn kill is sort of why I was bringing it up as the parallel.
yeah.
Mm.
So he's on the floor, still conscious, already chopped to bits a little bit, and Artist being like, all right, let's get to town, and he just sawing right into his cheeks and goes up, and you see like the skin
Up
go
the crack.
up and like right in the crack, and
Yep.
goes all the way up, and then he turns him over, or he does turn over, and he just goes right in there, and you see the balls dangling about, and it's like all bloody and gross, and he just fucking saws right through him. It's disgusting and great.
I mean, I'll tell you what, Leatherface would be proud.
Yeah.
Funny though, I don't know. Leatherface.
Leatherface might actually be like, dude, did you like God, tone it down.
I don't know, because he's a bit timid and emotional, but he's pretty brutal. Like,
I don't know. I
Leatherface
feel
goes
like
crazy.
Leatherface would be disappointed that he couldn't make a chair out of him.
That's true. Like the skin. was too
You ruined the
thin. Like,
skin.
he's like, I can't tan this now. Thank you.
I have zero desire.
Oh,
to
but
see
before he
this.
starts sawing, by the way, or Jane sawing into him, he tries to like grab him and pull him back, but he grabs the leg that's already basically disconnected and just rips it off by accident. He's like, oh, whoops, and just sniffs the foot and goes like, ugh, and then just throws it away. Such a dingus.
And then the cherry on top of what happens after the kill.
Yeah, he kills them.
Wonderful.
There's blood on the floor everywhere, and he does a blood angel on the floor.
It's
With a leg next to him.
It's terrifying Christmas.
It's the Terrifier Christmas, yeah. Well,
It's so fucking funny.
Isn't that the scene where they play like that Christmas song that's
Yeah,
made
it's a-
about
Yeah.
Terrifier?
It's a
Yeah.
that's where it is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
yeah.
so
I
funny.
loved that. I was like, this needs to be an actual Christmas song because it actually sounds like one.
Oh, that's so good.
Is there a Terrifier? There's a theme. I'm just checking if there might actually be a Terrifier 3 soundtrack. Hang on, let me just check real quick if there's a Terrifier Christmas here already. The Clown Cafe is on Spotify apparently. That's fun.
Oh man.
Oh yeah,
I-
it's catchy.
That
I
already
think,
gets
like,
stuck in my head without me
Yeah, I was-
listening to it. So I'm like,
exactly what I was gonna say. I was like, that was looping in my head for like a week and a half after I watched Terrifier 2. I'm like, anyways.
Okay, I don't see any Terrifier Christmas here, but I'm sure that's going to be added soon enough. Good stuff. Yeah, and then that's that. We cut back to home. Oh yeah, we are getting close to the last big scene here. Let me check. Oh yeah, the dad is getting to the pickup point for Jonathan. He calls him, and we do hear a voice that he comes up, but I think it sounds weird if I remember correctly. So it's probably the Vicky or something, or little girl,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, it's a Vicky.
Because that's the last time we see him alive. And then we get the dream sequence, which is also basically a flashback. It's her dreaming about the dad, Sienna, that is.
Yeah.
It's like, here, I drew you this cool superhero lady, and it's the costume she made, obviously.
Yeah, basically the Valkyrie.
The Valkyrie, yeah. It's like,
Or-
oh, can she even beat Blasterman? It's like, oh yeah, easily. She's super epic. And then he gives it over, and then some weird stuff happens where the dad goes like, and yes, something is happening in this part where I guess the beings above, whatever they be, they're kind of hinted at. There's like someone assigning the evil man, but also the good men to keep the balance or whatever the idea is that they present us here, and that they talk about earlier in the scene with Jonathan, right?
Yeah, the idea that if there's a demonic force that is responsible for art, then like God or I don't know whatever religion and stuff they're kind of pulling from. I think it's primarily Christianity due to her headdress at the end of the film. But yeah, that there might be an angelic force that is behind Sienna and what she can do.
Yeah, so we get like a little glimpse of. So apparently, when the dad gave her that paper, I assume that's what I think. That's what happened at that moment. It's like, oh, you are now the good force at some point, or you are it now. And the dad is like, okay, I'll be there whenever, at any time, even if you don't see me or whatever, like the usual stuff. And then we see like this thing. The creature, I don't know what else to call this creature that's forging
It looks like an orc.
like an orc. It could be an orc actually
So
with the teeth.
we've
Looks like
arrived
Lord-
at my
Lord of the
theory.
Rings.
Oh, yeah, go for it. I mean, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so does everyone remember how Sienna's father was said to have killed himself?
Yes.
Okay, so he, for those in the audience who don't know, he drove into a power transformer and like burned to death. I think the orc person is her dad. And he knew that even though it would involve him having to kill himself, dealing with an incredibly painful and horrible death, and then effectively working in hell afterwards, he needs to do that so that Sienna can actually defeat Art. And I think what he's doing, like, I don't think it was a flashback when she saw the blacksmith, you could say, that's working on what is very clearly the real Valkyrie armor. I think that like her dad was there making it for her because when she, at the end of this movie, she might need to travel into hell, and when she does that, she's probably going to need armor that is, substantial, and maybe the ability to fly. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it kind of depends how crazy they will go in the fourth one. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking as well when I first saw it. It's like, oh, that's probably the dad in some capacity
Yeah.
doing
It didn't even
something.
cross my mind.
Well, I mean, like he does look. You can say he looks like an orc because his skin's all dark and he doesn't like have lips, but he also could look like a charred corpse too. So, and there's a mask on him so that you can't really see what his features look like. Like he's wearing sort of a mask that, like a metal mask that covers his eyes. But,
And it's on
yeah.
a chain.
Yeah,
Like
like a statue is like a Christian statue, like a Mary statue or whatever. I think someone chatted
Yeah,
that.
it seems it's like a statue of is it a statue or is it just like a thing that's wearing a mask? Is it
I'm
Mary,
not
though, or I thought it
entirely
was
sure.
just an angel.
Well,
Maybe
it
is
looks
Mary.
like Mother Mary. So,
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
I wonder if her dad's gonna have like a strong of a supernatural connection in the next movie, as Sienna has. Because my theory was that like Art and Vicky and just the evil entity that encompasses both of them is kind of like the demons that Sienna's dad was facing before he decided to end his life, and so it kind of passed it on to Sienna and like the rest of the family. Like when that happened, that's why in his sketchbook there's drawings of Art and stuff and kind of how he visualized it, I guess, and like he wasn't mentally well, so he could have been seeing visions and stuff that, only comes to find out that Sienna and Jonathan could only see because like until the mom saw Art too, so I'm not sure if she would be able to see like the pale little girl or whatever, but it's like they're all connected. So I'm wondering if it's an actual supernatural thing with the dad or if it's just a mental health like aspect of him like dealing with these demons that just end up getting passed on to his kids in death because he couldn't win. Like it obviously got the best of him and he passed away. So
I think though that in the scene or the part where he hands her the image and he's seeing flashes of Terrifier 2, I think he knew that if he did not forge that sword and have it for Sienna, then his daughter would die.
yeah,
And maybe
like
his son
prophetic
too.
kind of.
Yeah, so he's like, whoa, so I'm gonna have to kill myself, and I have to not tell them exactly what's going on because they're never gonna believe me and they're just gonna think I'm insane. But I need to leave the hint so that she'll be able to find the sword and use it to actually defeat this thing. And yeah, the sword is a very powerful item too.
I mean, it came from her dad, so it wouldn't be far-fetched to say that the guy forging it in her little vision or whatever was him,
Yes, I have a growling puppy though. Jojo, stop.
Stop.
Good puppy.
In any case, Sienna wakes up and, well, it's time for the big finale action, crazy stuff happening. She goes downstairs and, I think that's the dad on the wall being crucified at the wall, cut in
It's the uncle.
half.
Yeah.
Huh?
it's the uncle.
The uncle, yeah, exactly. Head is missing because that one is the star on the Christmas tree on top now. And Art has written "ho ho ho" in blood right next to it, so he's still
Very
having
John
fun.
McClane of him.
He's
That
still
happened in Die Hard also.
Oh, okay. And I think he goes straight for her and just fucking decks her in the in the stomach with his big fucking hammer, and knocks her out. So yeah, not a good time. She gets knocked out. They tape her to the chair, and in front of her, a little table with something on it, and across from her, the her aunt, just being taped up as well, and August is having a great time gutting the corpse of the uncle, getting out all the insides to, decorate the Christmas tree, as one does.
As one does.
Vicky is just using a Polaroid camera, taking some pictures everywhere, opening presents, having a good time herself. She has like a art getup. She has like the makeup on and a little dress that looks like Art the Clown's clown costume.
Yeah, it's the copy of what the little girl was wearing.
Right. Oh yeah, and also she has a thorn crown on right now.
And it is Chris Jericho's body at this point, right?
Is it?
Like, isn't that the implication? Because she's like jacked at this point. Like, she's huge.
But he died like 5 years ago. That's her own body. I don't think she switched. I don't think she switched body. They mushed his face in.
Huh. Well, I mean, yeah, the face, but.
Well, I think her body's just gross and disgusting because
Yeah.
she sat in a pool of her own blood for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Her nails are just insanely long, like claws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to evoke more like a demon-like
Mutation,
presence.
yeah.
Sister, yeah.
I feel like at this point, though, am I wrong in thinking that Vicky is being played by like a huge dude and not like not at all the same actress that she was in the previous two movies?
I don't know. I did.
Maybe it's just a layer of prosthetics. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because she's supposed to. Because even when she first gets out of the tub, she looks like pretty decayed.
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty gross.
But yeah, she's opening presents. Just like, oh, this one is from your daughter, and it's like a little dress, and it's like, here, put this on. She's she's being a dickish as well, and it's like, oh, if you scream or cry, I'm gonna cut your tongue out. And she does like a little thing that does like art, and it's like, oh, put on the dress, ha ha ha. But she's more threatening in the direct sense towards their faces, if that makes any sense. Let's see. It's like, oh, the aunt asks, oh, where's Gabby? Where's my daughter? And then they open up the cage in the middle, and there's a skull in there with just a little bit of flesh on it and rats. And it's like, there she is. Like, no. She's obviously very sad and angry about this. And the whole point of this is obviously to make Sienna watch. See, like, here, we're gonna take everything away from you because you're the person that can stop us with your power stuff that from the second one. And what they do here is fucked up as well. They have like a glass thing, or plastic? I don't know. It's probably plastic. Glass will probably not work with what they do here. They shove it straight in her mouth, use a hammer, get it right in there, and then they just shove a couple of rats down her throat.
Yeah. The second I saw the tube, knowing that the rats were there,
Yep.
I was just like, oh, I know.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, by the way, did anyone else notice how there's like a white spray when he was hammering it down? One.
No, can't say that I did.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was unfinished CGI or if it's supposed to be like a. That's why I'm assuming it's from this scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of it was cut because outside of him saying it, there's like a white spray. I'm like, is that supposed to be like a reference to?
Huh.
It's either unfinished CGI or a reference to a glass of cookies.
Not sure.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a reference to like the Alien franchise.
No.
Mm-hmm.
She's an android. She was an android all along.
But yes, go ahead.
No. Continue.
okay.
That was about it.
Okay. Yeah, Sienna gets to watch the solo deal. She's very happy about this, obviously, and not angry and sad about this. But yeah, she's basically just going crazy in her chair and is trying to get out somehow, but obviously that's not happening. And the rats are just starting to eat her insides, but before they can go further, they just cut the throat open there, and all the rats fall out. And that's that for her aunt.
Yeah, that one's probably the second most brutal kill in the movie. Some might argue that it's more brutal than the chainsaw scene in a different way, but
it's more conceptually brutal.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the chainsaw one is more straightforward slasher movie kill, but done really over the top and well.
For sure.
This is a creative kill.
Yeah, this is like I'm thinking of a new age torture device type of kill.
But to take off the tenseness of the scene, we see Art just kind of trying to kick away the rats right after. He's like, go away. Yeah, then Vicky goes up to Sienna's like, see, you're no savior at all. You're nothing. We're going to take everything from you because you suck. You're not as cool as you think. And then she tries to take her over. She just kind of starts gripping her throat. And
well, right before that, she says, you want to know a little secret? That's not Gabby.
Oh, that was there? Oh, okay. I guess I got that mixed up. Yeah, one of the secret that's not Gabby at all. And then they put the skull on, I think over the fireplace glasses, or something, and put on the glasses. And yeah, that's Jonathan. And I guess he just died off screen, which I found to be really weird.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't like it. I think that's one of the biggest. I don't mind deaths off screen, but not for a main character.
Again, I think like it took me a second to like get to this, but I think I ended up deciding I was okay with it just because of the idea of maybe having a brutal over the top kill for Jonathan might have been a little much.
Why though?
Nah.
I guess because it's like, well, you'd also be kind of what would be the word? Like, I guess like blowing the emotional load a little bit early before this one, and I think maybe killing the aunt after Jonathan might have it might have been more difficult to feel as bad about the aunt's death if we'd just seen Jonathan get killed in an equally brutal way. You know?
Oh yeah, you would definitely need to change this part here. Because that wouldn't work for the audience, of course.
At least show a little something. Show Art chasing him around, trying to get him cut up a few times for capturing him.
Yeah, something. I thought him to. I mean, we talked about this earlier. I also thought he would be much more in this movie in general. But how much screen time does he have? Maybe like 7-8 minutes or something. Like it's not a lot.
Yeah, he's in like 4 or 5 scenes, maybe.
It's not a lot. Someone in chat just said, I think Terrifier 4 will start with what happened to Jonathan. I could actually see that happening as the starter of the movie for the first killing.
That would be better.
I could see that.
And I think it also gives you a little bit of wiggle room to decide whether or not Jonathan actually did get away. Because, I mean, considering the place that credits start in this movie, we don't follow Sienna for long enough afterwards to see if she eventually runs into a totally alive and well Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
He just can't see very well.
Yeah, we'll see. I can see that being a thing in the next one at the start. So yeah, they're basically just trying to deconstruct her feelings. Is that a good way to put it? They're just trying to show her there's nothing else for her to actually live for, so she can take over her body. Vicky can take over her body, so they're basically in control of the good and the evil side, is the idea here, I guess. But they can't quite get her over because Gabby is still alive, which they reveal her to be shortly before. And I was like, oh, well, I guess we just gotta kill her too. And then I'm not even sure. This just kind of plays into these two being a bit crazy, I guess. I don't think I'm a big fan of this, where Gabby just says, she hasn't opened her present yet. And it's like, oh, that's not fair. Let's open your present. I think it's kind of weird. I'm not the biggest fan of that payoff.
Well, it's Sienna's idea, isn't it?
No, I think it's Gabby's.
No, Gabby just says she hasn't opened her thing yet, because the idea is that she knows the blade is in there because she knows all the stories from the journal.
Well, and also, I mean, I guess she that allows her to clue Sienna off into what's going on, because she says it's her present for Sienna, as opposed to it being Gabby's present from Sienna, which is what it actually is, you know?
Yeah.
And the scene starts off with them opening presents anyway, so I mean, why not?
I don't know. I just don't believe the fucking child has the brain for that in that scenario. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Especially if she's read the journal. She knows how important the sword is.
Maybe, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of this payoff. She's way too chill, is what I'm trying to say. She's like, oh, this is a present. It's like, oh, okay.
I think my bigger problem with it is really like Art and Vicky like playing along. Like that's the part that I think requires a bit more of a logical jump.
Yeah. That
Well, maybe if they walked her in with a blindfold, so she only is hearing everything. She doesn't see all the blood and the gore, so she doesn't know exactly what's going on. So then
you mean the actress in real life?
Gabby, yeah. Like if Gabby is blindfolded in that scene, so she doesn't, see her dead mother complete, and so she suggests the present idea as a way to buy time. So then when she takes off the blindfold and then she sees her mother dead and like that, then she can break down. Because Arya and Vicky were already opening presents, so they can fucking do all that.
Really lucky they didn't get to that one.
Yeah. There's a few left. So. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it was a blessing that Gabby read the journal, so she knew about the sword.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Sienna would have been fucked.
Yep. It's like, here, open up the present. They throw it at her, and then they put it on her, but Art also breaks her fingers and bloodies them up with a mallet that he used before, and just kind of goes through. It's like, best present ever, and then she just starts slicing away.
Oh, actually, I mean, that actually does make a little bit more sense, that they wanted to use it as a reason to torture Sienna by saying, like, open the present with the smashed up hands, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, she got the blade, and then she slashes Art's throat, and I think just straight up decapitates Vicky right away, right? That's not a big fight between those two. Yeah, Vicky gets taken out pretty fast. Yeah, she gets taken out pretty fast. And then we get a super over-the-top fight scene, because Art still has the chainsaw, and we do chainsaw versus sword. It's like, okay.
Well, I mean, again, I think it being a magic sword is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, because I actually saw someone on Twitter being like, oh my god, she parries the chainsaw just like Leon with the knife.
I thought about Resident Evil 2 immediately.
I was like, granted, Leon's very well trained. That's still just like a K-bar, though, you know? Like, it's not... There's nothing really special about his knife that would make it so that he should...
In the remake, they break when you block them twice or something as well.
Yeah, there is durability, I suppose, there. But, I mean, even once, like,
you'd
be able to bury a chainsaw with a combat knife one time.
The thing is, I think even
unless it's like you knock it away.
I think just from a physical standpoint in general, because the chain obviously moves, like, the sword's probably going to get, like... dragged down at all times or something. I don't know. I haven't blocked a chainsaw with a sword yet, so I don't have any experience in that.
In real life, the chainsaw would win 100%.
Yeah.
I can't even say that, because I do construction, so I'm running a saw to cut steel. Steel gets cut in. gets caught on the blade all the time.
Yeah.
And stops
I-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or worst case scenario, it tugs the steel, drags my hand into it, and it cuts me.
You
Which has
gotta finish
happened.
that thought.
Oh, by the way, that has happened. I was cutting a piece of header. The saw cut the steel wrong. Sucked my hand into it. The blade caught right under the nail of my thumb.
Oh, not the
Which is
nail. Oh.
yeah, it was yeah. So it wasn't that bad because it didn't go very deep, but
It's tough
it
to
hurt.
bandage though. Like yeah, you can't like
Ye-
dressing that becomes very difficult.
Yeah, it was really fun. But the nice thing is it's a saw, so it really technically already cauterizes it. So it's
Yay.
very fun. So that was very fun, and now my thumb has always felt slightly off ever since. It's really great.
Oh wow.
But yeah. So either the saw blade will either get jammed because it gets stuck with the material, or the saw will just completely shatter. Which is also something that's happened to me. If you cut a piece of steel wrong, the blade will just fucking shatter and go everywhere.
Oh god.
Oh wow.
That's why you wear
Which-
protective eyeglasses or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's been a guy at work who that happened to him, and he got hit in the face with a chunk,
Oh boy.
and it cut him right on the lower eye bone, like on the high cheek.
Well,
Right
Well,
below the
I get-
glasses.
fuck that shit.
I guess to clarify though, I'm specifically talking about that if there's a lock situation the way Sienna has during that parry, where it's not like she just knocks it away, but it's there like he's holding the chainsaw up against the sword for like a solid few seconds, where it's like the blade is running and it's not being broken, and the sword is not getting knocked out of her hands, which is sort of what I was thinking would happen in that scenario, is that the force of the motor spinning the blade around would knock the sword out of Sienna's hands if it weren't for the fact that it was a magic sword.
Yeah.
You
No.
know, its rules
Maybe.
can be a little bit more cartoony if they needed to.
Or cut into the sword and fucking chip the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, magic sword is a good reason why that didn't happen. You know.
Let's see. Yeah, they just kind of fight back and forth. The Gabby just looks at the mom and has like this one moment where she was like, "Wake up, mom! Don't be dead." Which this felt like weirdly placed. I know this felt like weirdly placed, unless I missed
That-
something.
Well, I would say I would remove that line.
Yeah,
And like
because
I
the whole
said,
thing is
I'd
because
have her be blindfolded and then have her have just a mental break.
Vicky is melting or something and opens up the gates to hell, or what exactly ever happened there. So I think that was their way to keep her there so she doesn't go away or whatever. But yeah, they just kind of fight back and forth. They both take damage in this fight, which is always nice to see.
Oh, she fucking grabs his balls,
Oh yeah,
and he immediately crumples,
yeah, it's like ooh.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
as one does for that one too.
Yeah, she gets a bit of the
Hilarious.
she gets a bit of a head in the fight, stabs him into the gut, and before she can finish the job, if you will, whatever that even means. I wonder what she was thinking here. It's like, okay, I can stab him. I decapitated him last time. What does he
Right, he's
work?
just gonna come back. Exactly.
Yeah.
But she's pretty freaking fearless in that whole last scene, though. Like,
Yeah.
to go after him with the chainsaw against her and stuff like that, and like, not really having a plan, but being like, well, I gotta do something, and having him pinned up against the wall like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
assume the sword infuses her with some kind of warrior spirit, whatever you want to call it, because she does like some fighting moves.
Yeah, it's kind of what gives her like Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Yeah.
powers, and the ability to heal, which is a major thing too. Like I think if I'm gonna go up against Art the Clown, and you immediately establish beforehand that as long as I have this sword, I'm basically Wolverine, that would really help me out a lot. Like knowing that, I'd be like, okay, I might be okay here.
Dude, Art shoves her face into her uncle's dead,
Oh yeah, in
Oh,
the
God.
cut open guts. Yeah. Ugh.
and and then tries to strangle her with his intestines, and
She bites through it,
straight up
yeah.
bites through it.
Oh.
She's wearing a crown of thorns this entire time too, that has been forced into the skin on her scalp too.
But yeah, she has him taped at the wall, but the gates to hell opened because Vicky melted. That's how it happened. I don't know.
Yeah, the demon toast has been slain, so the demon slinks back to its domain.
Yeah. She wants to. Gabby grabs a hold of like a ledge or something, and then she has like a. She can't get to her, so her idea is to grab onto the blade part and let her take the sword. That's just a stupid idea.
So the only way I can excuse this is her literally going with the fact that her dad said the sword can never hurt you, as immediately literal.
Well, it doesn't matter. It just slips out. You can't grab it that way.
Yeah, because it fucking slices her head.
I mean, I know she was desperate, but that was like probably the worst idea you could have had in that scenario.
Well, you know, I hate to say it, grab your uncle's intestines.
Yeah.
He's not using them. Grab a piece of broken furniture that's right there.
Yeah.
Unless it all fell in. But
I mean, I know what they were going for. It's like,
a few
oh,
better
she's just
ideas.
gonna do this to save her. It's like, yeah, I get it, but I wasn't very smart. I'm sorry. I don't like that.
I think it was also putting the sword on the board where they will want it for the beginning of the next movie.
Yeah, they wanted the sword in Hell World or whatever it is.
Her having the sword makes her very OP. Like, and it's kind of cool for these movies because she spends every moment up to when she's able to utilize the sword as not being OP at all. And
I was going to say, it's not even for Sienna's benefit; it's for Gabby's. Because if she's going to get stuck in hell, she needs a weapon to defend herself. Or else,
I guess fair enough.
Just gonna slay demons down there.
Yeah, that's my immediate thought was.
Yeah, I mean,
needs it for
Sienna's hands instantly healing. Does that mean she's just gonna be super OP when she goes to hell? Like,
well,
I
think that's the extension of the sword can never hurt you. I think they literally only healed because they were cut by the blade.
And her hands healed from being broken up because when she touches the blade, she also is healed. Like she's effectively invulnerable.
Right.
Because
like her stomach wound heals in the second one too when she got stabbed by Art. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she did get stabbed by it too. So yeah, that's. Like,
she's
Doom
Gal
it's
now.
Not like that sword will just bounce off her and like act like it's not sharp or a sword as if she's touching it.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I say it's like she literally took it as the sword doesn't heal. The point of the sword is, as her dad says, the sword can't hurt you. And my only way of thinking is Sienna takes that literally. So that's why she tries to use the sword as something to hold for Gabby.
Yeah.
But
you should have said the word permanently.
It's not that simple. No. So, because it slices her hand straight open when Gabby falls in.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a whole human weight at the end of a blade that you've got a full double grip on. It's not going to go well for your hands.
Indeed. So yeah, that's where we are now. Gabby is in Hellworld with the sword.
Art ran away too.
Yeah, he escaped.
Yes, Sienna is here in this place with no one left alive that she cares for currently, as far as we know. Art escaped. He just took a bus to somewhere, and that's where we at. So. Yeah, that's Terrifier numero 3, and that's that. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just really fun. I'm curious to see what happens in 4, how we all wrap it up, if that's actually going to be the last one. From what we hear, if you don't like gory stuff, don't watch it. This is gonna fuck you
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, it's not like that's the big thing with the asterisks that you always got to put by recommending the Terrifier movies. It's they're so much further into like slasher gore that it's not the kind of thing that like, hey, if you like Scream, you'll like this movie. It's like, no, no.
Yeah.
Scream's far more tame than the Terrifier movies.
And I was gonna say Saw is probably more extreme than this too, for the most part. Well,
Yeah,
most of the
but
Saws
that's
are.
Hostel and Saw though. Those are movies. Well, granted, I mean, there's only 2 Hostel movies, so it's not quite the franchise that something like Saw is. But people going to see Saw know what they're in for already. Whereas this, I think you would probably be recommending it to people who are like, oh yeah, I like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and like those slasher movies that are a ton of fun. It's like, oh, you should watch Terrifier. You kind of do have to
Oh.
say, but just
Yeah.
so you know, if you're squeamish, you're going to be hiding your eyes through most of it.
Yeah. I also just really enjoy this. Like we do basic character development. We don't forget about the previous movie and what happened there. Get into this a little bit. We have the main character having PTSD as like a really good move because they went through something really traumatic, as I already said. And yeah, it's just it's nice. I think
Yeah, it's a more developed slasher, you
Mhm.
know? I mean, like most people expect slashers, like myself included, because of all the ones we've gotten in the past, to just be like hack and slash and like not really any character development because why? Like the characters are going to die anyway, you know?
Mhm.
It's like you don't want to get attached to these characters because they're written to die for the most part. But the fact that there are still some characters that get better as the movies go on and more developed and stuff, especially like our final girl. Obviously, she has plot armor,
Mhm.
at least until the end. Who knows? But yeah, it's nice that Damien dove deeper into that instead of just having your cheap slasher, you know, just because everyone that doesn't really get Terrifier whittles it down to that anyway, just like torture porn and all that stuff. And I'm like, you obviously haven't seen the movies because he takes it a little bit further than that.
Yeah.
And there's actually like a element of story and character development there. So that's always good to see.
Yeah, like a lot of slasher franchises almost bank on the fact that because they want new people to go see sequels when they come out, that knowledge of any previous movie is not at all required to watch any given entry. Whereas Terrifier is very much not that. It's like, no, you should watch these in order because
Mhm.
otherwise you're going to be kind of confused by some of the things that are happening. And less so again with, I mean, the first one's the first one anyways, but
Yeah, I was gonna say the only exception to that is you probably honestly don't really need the first one unless you just really want to know Vicky's origin,
Mhm.
which is
yeah. Well, and I mean, and it's
Lightly
also like,
covered.
yeah, it's an interesting watch just to see how they made that movie with an even smaller budget than the rest of them were. But you're right. I think you could maybe tell people, yeah, if it's the gore is you're going to be fighting through it, and you're kind of interested in the story based on listening to fantastic podcasts that talk about these films.
Whoa.
Yeah, you're probably safe to start with 2, and you won't be missing a whole lot. But yeah, they're all worth watching though.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think I still enjoyed 2 the most, just from my gut feeling here right now. I would need to watch them all in a row, but I feel like the second one was the best one for me currently.
I think
Yeah,
so too. I think it's like the most rewatchable, you know, like even though I want to see Terrifier 3 again, I've only seen it once. I like 2 is definitely a comfort movie. Like I would
Right.
just be able to put that one on no matter what and just be able to enjoy it. But I feel like 3 it's got its comfort moments, you know, but I feel like it's also a lot at the same time. It's definitely more
Yeah.
than 2 for sure.
It can get
Yeah,
rough
it is
to watch that one.
Yeah, it's 3 is bigger in a lot of ways. Even though
Yes.
the finale is kind of more localized and intimate than the like big funhouse action set piece of Terrifier 2. But I think the thing I really like about 3 is what it does with the lore and the story kind of behind things, and how it recontextualizes some things we knew about 2 and like signals where it might be going in the future as well. So I think I that's the reason I would be like, like 3 is definitely one that you shouldn't skip, even if you're like, yeah, 2 2 was okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch the third one. It's like, yeah, maybe watch the third one. It might, even if you don't end up liking the third movie, I think it might make you appreciate the second one a little more.
Mm-hmm. Very
Wait,
well.
there's 3 Hostel movies?
There are? Okay.
I don't know. I thought there were 2.
I think I've only seen the first one. I don't know.
I didn't mind the second one. I thought it was okay.
I thought the
Wasn't
second
as
one was
good.
better.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. That's just me though.
Yeah, maybe. It's been a while since I watched them, but
That's
I
fair.
really liked the last act of the first movie, though. It's so damn good. Like we're
True, there is a lot of brutality in the first that stuck with me, honestly, like the Achilles tendon scene. Oh,
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
hate that one.
I kind of like that it became like a little revenge movie at the end, though. So
That's
I was like,
fair.
oh,
I
okay.
freaking love revenge slashers, so anything like that is up my alley.
Is the third film titled Hostel 3 with the 3 is the E? So
Host
It
3L.
better.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I didn't even know it existed until now.
I got one super chat here by Zodlander. Just ask, will you join an Az's Insanity and play Dustborn? No, thank you. I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
okay.
no, definitely not for me.
I've done my due diligence this year. I'm fine.
I've seen enough clips of
watched it.
Dustborn to be good on that game forever. It looks incredibly cringe.
Yeah.
I watched one person stream it all the way through, and I'm like, this is too boring.
Nah, not memeable.
90% of it is just worthless garbage.
Yeah. No, well, I got enough games until the end of the year. Let's see if I can finish those.
No,
Probably not.
you could
Yeah,
try.
finish those.
But yeah, that's that. We're done so with everything. Any last thoughts before we get out of here and send people to their respective channels? Any last words?
Go watch it in theaters because it's awesome, especially when you're in a packed theater with people and they're actually reacting to the scenes. It's a lot of fun with all the energy. And also, if you keep giving Damien money, he's going to make an even better film for the next
Yeah.
one. So.
Crazy how that works. Oh, there's something I just saw because I have the tab still open. Actually, because this is a fun little fact. When they watch the television news of the mall exploding, you have this one guy that is like a bystander. Did this guy look familiar to any one of you guys? Because he did to me, and I checked who he was.
Tom
Yes, Tom
Oh, yeah.
Savini.
Yeah.
Yep.
Savini. Didn't even have to pull it up. I knew it right away. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, look at him.
Yep.
Like he's getting
When I
old.
saw
and he's
him, I
definitely
was
putting
like-
on some weight, but
Because here's the
For
thing,
sure.
I haven't seen From Dusk Till Dawn in probably 12 years.
yeah.
And I was
one of
like,
the most
I know this
memorable
fucking
parts.
face. Where is he from? And then I checked it out.
Sex
It's like,
Machine.
oh, it's the guy with the penis pistol.
Yeah, it
Character
must have
name
been.
is Sex Machine. From
It
Dusk
must
Till
have been really cool for Damien to get him in his movie because he's a big influence on Damien's special effects.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an unreal moment for him to have a big enough movie to get him in there.
Yeah,
He's
so-
he's one of the
And
OG,
also-
like, horror makeup guys.
Did anybody notice that Clint Howard was in it too?
Yes, he was. I forget where he was in it, but I remember.
He was in the
seeing
bar.
him. Yeah.
Smokey.
Nice. Yeah, that was a fun little thing I noticed. And I forgot to mention it earlier when it happened because I'm stupid. But yeah, before we get out of here, of course, Miss Lauter, where can people find you? You do like all the streams. I saw you playing some spooky stuff and shooty stuff and all the stuff. All right. Oh shit! Did my internet just die? Hello? Uh-oh. Did my interwebs just poop itself? Uh-oh.
Alright, how's that?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's,
seems like
it's
we're
still live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Everything went silent from me, and even YouTube just started saying not receiving enough video. Okay, we're back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're in the middle of
Okay,
Miss Lauter
first.
telling us where
Oh.
we can find her. So you
Alright,
are
now
the
you,
host
now you gotta
of-
start over. You
Okay.
gotta
Yeah.
start all over.
Okay.
Do it again.
I have
Yeah.
a personal channel on Twitch. It's Miss_Slaughter, and I also stream and host for Night Dive Studios on Saturdays and Mondays. We do single player and multiplayer community night streams. So if you're looking for people to game with, come by on Mondays. We have a lot of fun. So there's that, and then I'm also on regular socials on Twitter/X and Instagram. So whatever you have, you can find me.
Nice. I got the
Yeah,
Twitch
James?
channel is down below. You can go check it out.
Thank you much.
Yeah, thanks for
Hooray.
joining us. Good times.
And
Of
I think
course.
actually EFAP's doing an EFAP movies, I think a live episode though of it, on the Thing. And Night Dive's next big game is the PS2 Thing game, right? Or is there anything else coming out before that? You don't have to say anything if it's gonna get you in trouble though. Hello? Did we lose Miss Slaughter?
Wait,
there.
can you
Oh.
rephrase that? Sorry, I
Oh,
was
I
like,
said, is Night Dive's next game that they're making the PS2 Thing remaster?
yes.
John
Well, we
Carpenter's?
just announced that it's coming before the end of the year. So we just released Killing Time Resurrected, and the Thing is coming soon in the next like 2 months or so. I'm not sure about the actual release date, but it's coming before the end of the
Yay.
year.
Nice.
Cool.
It's gonna be great. It looks awesome from what I've seen so far. So
I did enjoy the original. It is a survival horror game with some psychological horror elements. that are
absolutely,
pretty neat.
and with some night dive magic sprinkled on top, it's gonna be really cool.
Yay, which means it's not going to run like shit for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always good to hear.
That's why Night Dive's one of my favorite studios. It's like, hey, they're working with old games. It's like, yeah, but their games all work and run great. That's important to me, damn it.
Good
Well,
stuff.
it's not gonna fix any of the very broken mechanics of the original game. So
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to replaying it.
Nice.
oh, so am I. I fucking love that game. It's such a stupid game. I love it. There's so
Yeah.
many quirks to it. What am I? Oh, dude. One of my favorite highlights is the Germa highlight of him playing through that game. So
I've not
funny.
seen it.
Oh, dude, because he's playing it for the first time, and he's literally discovering how the mechanics work live. So it gets to the point where he literally can't trust anyone because he knows there's gonna be. So
That sounds
for
fun.
people
I've
who
never
don't
played
know-
that game before. That sounds fun.
Oh, dude,
That sounds like a fun
It's-
stream game, actually. I need to pick that up then.
it's
Yeah.
it's so funny.
Good
I'm gonna
stuff.
link that. I'm gonna link the supercut that someone did because they did a. It's literally the length of a movie. It's 2.5 hour supercut. It's like a 18-hour stream. Because it is a very. It's a mangled. It's a great game in very special way.
Nice.
So
So, James, and you
check
don't have
that
your own channel to promote, but you've been streaming with Wolf over on the EFAB Highlights channel,
Yeah.
aren't you?
oh right, yeah. So we're doing Dead Space 3, which is many people. It's kind of like afflicted feeling games. I like it. It's not the best, but other people will take it as a sin against God sometimes. It's one of those games. I think there's worse.
I've
games
still
that
yet to
destroy
play it,
franchises.
and I did try to boot
What?
it up once, and yeah, no, Dead Space 3 is the only Dead Space game I haven't played. I've even played the Wii light gun shooter,
Oh my god.
but
Well, Metal,
granted,
you know what
on-
you have to
on
do
an
now.
emulator. Play
You
Dead
have-
Space. I mean, like I'm up for playing it. I've never played it before, but the last time I tried to run it though, it kept on crashing before I could even do anything. Because I did try to play it, it's just it wasn't working, and then I was like, I don't really need to do this. So I
That's
just
weird.
Did something
I've
else.
never had that issue. But yeah. So Wolf and I are playing through Dead Space 3 on EFAP Highlights. The next stream should be Monday and then Wednesday.
Oh.
And then if it really gets to it, there'll be a fourth stream, but I don't know when the date for that will be. We haven't even made it to the planet yet because Wolf is the second player because he's never gone through Carver's story.
Okay.
Because
Well,
you don't fucking get it when you play single player.
I mean, I've never even gone through Isaac, so I'm not sure what the story is at all.
Well, maybe we can play that together one day. But yeah, go check
Perhaps.
that out.
Maybe for next Halloween.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Next spooky season.
Mark, you up to anything?
No, not really. I've just been kind of working on my outside of YouTube projects in my good old real life, and
Yeah.
like I mean, I'm still doing some YouTubey stuff. I was on EFAP yesterday. We played a fun little game of guess the movie based on 2 like 6th and 5th billing actors, and every wrong guess you get another actor, and then you got to figure out what the movie is before all of them are out.
Yeah, it sounded like fun when Mala told me about it, but
Yeah, it was a good time.
I said no because, and I'm just gonna use it as a segue, because I was editing more Rings of Power because I thought I needed some time. As I said earlier, I'm like 12, 15 minutes into the visuals. It's crawling ahead as work is being a bitch. I doesn't get a lot of time to edit properly for long stretches of time, so I just did some editing yesterday to get it more forward. I don't know if I'm doing some editing now or just go to bed. I don't know yet. But yeah, I'm just gonna do some editing like every day now throughout the week. So hopefully, fingers crossed, like sometime at the end of the week I can release episode 5. That would be good. Probably gonna be like 40 minutes long, something like that. We'll see. I'm probably still gonna need to add some more audio and stuff, so we'll see how that goes.
It's 8 episodes total?
Yes, I still have 3 episodes ahead of me.
Oh, okay.
I'm super behind. Like, I got knocked down from work. Because normally when work is not super busy, you can get some cheeky editing on the clock in, can knock out a couple of minutes while there's nothing going on, but it's been quite busy, so can't do that really. And some people have the fortitude, but after I get off the clock for 8 hours, I can't really focus for another 5 hours of editing. I just can't fucking do it. I tried. I just can't make it. It's not happening. So yeah, I'll be busy with those videos probably until December, because I assume episode 7 or 8 are going to be almost an hour long each, because it doesn't get better. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I'll do 7 and 8 in one big episode, review episode. I don't know. We'll see. Haven't decided yet. Let me get through 6 and 5 first.
Those last 2 episodes, those will be what bring the Tolkien fans on board. Like,
yeah.
You know what? It's actually been great this whole time.
Absolutely. Tomorrow I'll be doing some Black Ops 6. Gonna check that out. I already downloaded, so gonna see what's that all about. Do more editing, do more EFAB recording stuff, and also gonna play some Darkwood this week as well, I think. Yeah, tons of stuff coming your way. I wouldn't be surprised if I do a rando on Black Ops 6 when I finish that up, so that might be coming your way. Go check out the rando on Silent Hill 2. That was fun to do, and yeah, that's it. Just working away, working and twerking. Or something, yeah. There you go. I don't know.
That was a twist at the end.
Yeah. Gotta keep people on their toes, dude. You gonna stream the Darkwood gameplay, Mootle? Yeah, I already streamed it once at the beginning of October, then Silent 2 came out, so you can... Oh, I think I haven't uploaded the VOD yet on the VOD channel. Go to the channel description of this channel and find the playlist of the games, and there you can find part 1 of the Darkwood playthrough. I've been enjoying it quite a bit, but Silent Hill took way longer than I anticipated, so I haven't continued that yet. But that's gonna come up again very soon, because I really enjoyed that for the time I played it. In any case, that's that for today. Thanks again for the panel for joining. It was a good time, and
Yes,
Definitely.
thank you, Gus.
Thanks for having me.
absolutely good tisms. And I don't think, no, there's nothing else. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for hanging out. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye-bye,
Definitely.
everybody.
Bye.
All right.